She was also the mother of Kamal Nanjiani's girlfriend in The Big Sick. That's
Yeah,
the
I
other
remember
thing I
that.
know her from.
I remember that. I need to see the
Yeah.
movie. I've heard very good things.
That's a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's jacked as
now,
shit.
Now he's jacked as shit, and it's scary. He's terrifying.
Yep.
It's like I really hope he doesn't go like a Chris Pratt route, where
I
like
think
he's a
he
very funny,
might.
likable guy, and then when he gets buff, he starts sucking. I
I'm
really
scared.
hope not.
I'm scared he might, just because I watched The Big Sick and it was awesome, and I
Yeah.
love that movie. And then now The Eternals is very much not a Big Sick movie.
Oh,
And
really?
I
It's
don't think
not?
he's gonna
Oh,
do it.
that's so
I don't
weird to
think
me. I
so.
figured it would be.
I know it's strange. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna become full Chris Pratt, but he is gonna definitely be like the star of like a rock style movie in the next
Yeah, and
3 years.
like if I think if not to say that I dislike Dave Bautista, because I do like Dave Bautista. Oh wait, no, he and Dave Bautista were in a movie, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Oh wow!
And now they're
'Cause I
both
was
the
gonna
same.
say- 'cause
It's
I was
funny
gonna
how they're
say,
both the same
If
now.
he's the new like funny buff guy, I would be fine with that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know if I don't know how well he's gonna suit like traditional cool guy leading man thing. You know, I just want him to. Like he's a comedian at heart.
Yeah. And I
Don't
want to
take
see
that
him
away
be a
from him.
comedian. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see him and
Because
John
he's a really
Mulaney
funny.
in a movie.
He's a super
Yeah.
funny guy. I love him. He's hilarious.
I want to see him and John Mulaney more in a movie together than I want to
Yeah.
see him and The Rock together in a movie. You know.
Speaking of The Rock, did you hear about his? Did you hear his
I
rap
don't,
debut?
I don't want to.
It's not terrible.
What was that?
He's fine.
I
He's-
thought it looked okay, but I was like, what? Why?
It's-
What?
It's literally like just picture The Rock, what he sounds like,
Yeah.
and just what like he's like. It's just him yelling lyrics and stuff, and it's like, okay, that's cool. Good for you, Dwayne. We love to see it.
Yeah. It was inevitable though that he would do something like that because
Yeah.
he's trying to become a, I guess, multifaceted creator. But it's not even him. It's just his team probably just telling him to do shit.
I don't know. It makes me so uncomfortable when like celebrities are like forced to do things that they don't want. Like
Exactly.
we've been watching the D'Amelio. Hey everybody, welcome to Fanboy Talk. This is Troy.
Oh yeah.
I'm here with
Hello.
Mithi.
No more
we've been
intros,
watching.
just
We've
talking.
been watching. Honestly, I'd rather that. It'd be fun. We've been watching the D'Amelio show, the one on Hulu about Charli D'Amelio.
Yep.
feel
And
like- have I
it's more
mentioned it
about
here?
Dixie, right? It's more about
It's not
like
more. It's not more about Dixie. It's like. Is it? I guess so. We haven't finished it, so yeah. I guess so far it has been kind of focusing on her. But it's like and like I don't love the show. It's kind of it's like trashy, and they are very easy people to make fun of. I don't dislike them for anything, but like it's very easy to mock them. But like the shit that they have to do is very frustrating.
yeah.
Like the constant working and the constant like doing things for their brand, you know. And like
They're making because I watched the Drew Gooden video, and that's
Yeah.
my only real exposure to it, like aside from a few trailers. And it seems like it's very much their lives are just dictated by four people.
Yeah.
And as much as they go through shit, that is something that you can kind of be like, oh, come on, that's rough,
it's and I feel bad for these girls because especially because it's like Dixie wants to make music and Charli wants to dance, and like those are the things that they want to do and they're passionate about that. But it's like these people are forcing them to turn it into content all the time and not actually make like art, you know? Like if Dixie wants to make music, let her make music that is personal to her, like, you know, but they force her to make these pop songs that are like they're trying to make her into a pop star and they're trying to overproduce it and stuff. And it's like let her just write a song and sing cuz she's a good singer. She's like a pretty decent one. And she surrounds herself with people that like you would expect her to surround herself with people with that like at the very least have her best interests at heart. And
but
sometimes
they
it feels like they
really-
don't. And
because they're on the payroll. It's like everyone is on the payroll. Even the show is part of being on the payroll. You know,
and it's really weird to see the show be like, man, these girls are going through so much because they have so
But
much
they're also the
content
part
they
of
have
it.
to make all the
Yeah.
time. Anyway,
Yeah.
here's me us documenting their entire fucking lives. I do
And that's
recommend
what
the show actually. I don't hate it. It's like it's funny to make it's funny to make fun of them because like they are very easy to make fun of.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it's like you feel bad for these girls, and it's a interesting look into like modern, like modern content production and modern, you know, and it's like it's kind of it's fucked, you know. I don't know.
Because it's you think of content creators, even on YouTube back in the day of like 2015, 2016, still wasn't like to this level. There are parts of it that were, but then just the growth of YouTube over the past just 5 years has made it to a point where something like the Dixie and the D'Amelios, which if I asked my parents who they were, they would say they had
Hey, they
no
were on
idea.
Family Feud. Hey, they might know.
Okay, maybe. My dad hates Steve Harvey, so maybe
That's
not.
fair. That's valid.
But yeah, but I feel like just because that's reached this like untapped reservoir of people that like don't really like with us, we know of certain people in certain communities just because, you know, we're in those communities and like we know who High Top is, but no one else knows who High Top is, you know? But if we were to meet High Top on the street, we'd be like, "Oh my god, High Top Films."
Oh my god, are you the guy that made the Spider-Man video?
Exactly. Or the Batman video. Or
if somebody stopped me on the street and said, "Oh my god, you're the guy that made the Spider-Man billionaire video," I think I would implode on the spot of like, "Oh no. Please don't know me for that."
If someone came up to me on the street and said, "Oh my god, you're the guy that made the Frozen 2 video," I'm just going to delete my channel. I'm going to delete my channel.
Well, because you peaked there. There's
because that was my peak. Yeah. But yeah, I think with these content creators, it's like you're allowed to have some sympathy for them while still being critical of the way they portray themselves online.
Yeah,
you know?
and I'm not necessarily critical of like them specifically. Like it's like it's easy to make fun of them in the same way that it's easy to make fun of any like teenage girl of like, "Oh my god, they're such a teenage girl." And
it's good for comedy commentary and then really nothing more.
But then there is like a legitimate like, "Oh fuck," you do kind of feel bad for them because like they didn't ask for it. You know, exactly. They didn't ask. Like it is kind of shitty.
Yep.
But it's just like it's so weird to me because it's like they want to pursue artistic goals, right? And instead of being given a chance to pursue those artistic goals, which would be successful. I mean, Dixie's going to be successful either way as a musician.
She is successful.
She is successful. So it's like, why not give her a platform to like make stuff that's actually important to her instead of forcing her to make these like very poppy like breakup songs all the time.
Which is weird because I feel like creators get to that point only after like it's almost like they're like, "Oh well, you gotta trudge through the mud for the next few years, and then you finally get to that point." Like Dua Lipa's Future Nostalgia is like that.
Shit. Yeah,
Rebecca Black's new stuff is kind of like that. You know, where it's like they get to that point in their career after like so much shit. It's like I'm sure Dixie will also probably get there. You know, in the next 5 years, but it's just it feels weird that part of their life is so highly scrutinized because in the past when people went through that shit they weren't as scrutinized as badly because they weren't on the top of the leaderboard but they're on. It's like it's kind of the Justin Bieber effect too, where he was at his peak at a certain point and everyone criticized him at his peak, and now he still gets criticism even if some of his stuff will sometimes be good, which I don't know if Justin Bieber music is good or not, but it still gets criticism.
It's
just because he's Justin Bieber, you know. It's once you get the name of being criticized, that doesn't go away, and I feel like that's I don't know if that's deserved, you know.
I agree. It's just it's weird to me because it's like you would think having this big, like as somebody that makes shit, you know, I'm at the point where I'm trying to grow a platform, and so I have to make content, you know, right? Like you have to make weekly consistent content. Like you have to do the business side of it. They already have their platform. They've already gotten to that point. So it's like, why would the producers be like, "Oh, now you got to make this incredibly overly produced thing that is you know like you got to follow the formulas and stuff." When Dixie could make some avant-garde thing that completely just be, you know, if she wanted to, and it would still sell because it's like that's the platform. And Charli could just do competitive dance and just make TikToks, and she'd still make $1 million a day.
It's like being the big fish in a small pond, and you've eaten all the little fish.
Yeah.
And now there's just water, and now the producers start asking you to drink all the water in the pond, and it's like, just go to a different pond now, you know, like that.
Yeah, you're at the point or just stay in the, like keep eating, like say if you're a shark,
keep eating the fish. Yeah.
You've already eaten your fill for the day. You've already eaten the meal that you need for sustenance.
Yep.
If it's like someone saying to that shark, "Okay, keep eating to get full." I'm already full. I'm already good. I want to eat this delicious carp or something. This is a bad analogy.
Yeah,
but it's like you do something for you now. You know, that's like you were saying. We were talking about this a little bit before, but it's like
be the Fortnite shark and attack the players on land.
Yeah, exactly. But like the like a little bit for me, a little bit for you. You know, that's the thing with like, do something for yourself, do something for your audience.
Yeah.
They've already done their thing for their audience. Their audience loves them. So just do something for you now. And it doesn't feel like they're allowed to do that. And that kind of is like really depressing. And I see
upsetting. Not that I follow like Minecraft shit extensively, but I feel like a part of Minecraft shit for a while was like that too. Or because I was listening to podcasts with like, because I listen to Chuckle Sandwich now, and a lot of those guys came from Minecraft, you know? And so now they're in a status where, okay, the stuff they're doing is their podcast with their friends. They're going out with their friends and they're like doing YouTube content. Or like, I don't know if you watched Ted Nivision's videos, but like this dude is amazing. Like he started from Minecraft stuff, but then he got his film degree. And now like he's a guy who, you know, Daniel Bernhardt.
I don't know anybody.
He's in Birds of Prey. He gets his knee smashed by Harley Quinn.
That's cool.
That's him. He's the guy in Barry. He's like a big stunt performer. He started on The Matrix. He did John Wick and stuff like that. He worked with him. Like he like reached out to him, and Universal partnered with him to promote Nobody. You know,
that's cool.
And like he made like his own little action thing with them, and it's crazy to see him do like he went from a thing where he was very much doing the, you know, one for all of you Minecraft Twitter stuff, like weird commentary things that sometimes hit and sometimes didn't hit, and now he's at a point I think where he's making content that he seems to be really proud of. And I feel like that a lot of people in that mid-range, right, of like, okay, we're at like 1 million subscribers, maybe 500,000 subscribers, in that range, I feel like a lot of those people go through that route, you know, like Michael Reeves, these guys, and these creators who are there that have enough money to make a living and a little bit more, but then will do stuff they're passionate about. But then once you pass like 10 million subscribers, they're all just doing the same shit, like an endless cycle. And I don't understand what happens there, or is it just the people they surround themselves with, or like the teams that they have that's like, no, you have to stick in this thing. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm assuming it is a teams thing, and I think and Drew talks about it in his video, but like the pressure of like, this may be your only chance to do this, you know?
Yeah.
And like I know Doja Cat feels like that. She was going on Twitter about like
really?
she feels the need to like say yes to everything right now. And so she's super overworked.
Because she's at the height of her stuff.
And I hope it's not the height, because I adore her and she deserves like all the success in the world.
That's true. Yeah.
But like her producers and she herself are probably like, this could be the height. And so take what you can get and overwork yourself and burn yourself out, and it sucks. And
it's funny because that's the same thing that brings people down as well. You know, it's not even about like, fuck mental health for a second. That's sometimes that loses popularity as well when you burn and overwork yourself. So even if you don't care about your mental health, fucking that's gonna ruin you too. It's a lose-lose situation unless you find the wins for yourself, you know. And I feel like Drew is another good example. I feel like he's a guy who, like, have you seen his Lost video that he made?
I
like
haven't
that
yet.
was
I
like
need to. I've been meaning to.
He talks about Michael Giacchino for like 5 minutes, and it's cool. Beautiful. Yeah.
Wait, did he do the soundtrack on Lost?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I didn't fucking know that.
So
that's rad. Love that.
And he was like, it's like he just figured out that he was behind like so many soundtracks, and he just like, it's like Drew does this thing where he takes video essays, but he makes them like commentary videos.
Yeah.
And I think he's carved a little niche for himself doing that. That like,
it's like
he deserves all the success.
It's like the commentary video for the smart man.
Exactly. Yeah.
For the
commentary video for the guy who's not invested in comics every single fucking day of his life. So, So for some reason that sounded like a shout out to Doug in a negative way. No, Doug, you're perfect. No, Doug, fuck you. Make videos about Venom and let me be the voice in them.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. Let me voice Spider-Man.
I don't want to do Venom.
That's my voice.
Every time from now on, every time he asks me to voice Spider-Man, I'm going to do it as Jerry Seinfeld. Speaking of Seinfeld, Seinfeld's on Netflix now.
I saw something about that.
It's cool that it's on there. They cropped it to 16:9, and it's bullshit. They did the same thing with this. So like, literally, there are episodes where jokes are gone now. There's an episode about a sinkhole or a pothole, and the characters and the pothole is on the lower part of the screen. In 4:3, you can see it. In 16:9, they crop it.
You can't.
And so you don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Did they revert that for The Simpsons, or is it still like that for The Simpsons?
No, it's still like that for The Simpsons. It's we've been watching the Treehouse of Horror stuff. I think we're done because we got to the point where it started getting bad. But like, I believe it's it's cropped, yeah. Which that's so weird. Like I Simpsons on Disney Plus, like not just the cropping, but it looks like shit. It looks really bad.
Yeah,
they do something to it to like upscale it, and it's like ugly. I don't know why.
They've been doing that to a lot of other shows. I was trying to watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes too, a couple of episodes.
Is Earth's Mightiest Heroes also ugly?
It's not great, but it's fine. Weird. It's a digitally made show though, so it's like okay,
yeah, because that show's not that old. You'd think they would have like HD things of it.
Yeah, I just want them to put Spectacular Spider-Man something. I have all the episodes anyway. I just want to see it on a streaming service.
I got the big old Blu-ray, baby.
Yeah, that's lucky son of a bitch. I have Batman Begins. Speaking of, do we want to talk about what we did this weekend? Because I did.
Yeah, I was trying to get to that. I was trying to segue naturally.
Yeah. No, this is my segue. It's very natural. The next part of the podcast is what we did this weekend, starting with Troy. Go.
Well, we watched Seinfeld. Yeah. we watched the Muppets Haunted Mansion, which that came out yesterday. Or sorry, as today's Saturday, so it came out on Friday. That's actually pretty fun. It was like it was a little short, little musical thing. It was cute. Yeah.
You and Brian were talking about it, right? I remember. I think so. Was it Brian or someone else? I saw someone send a message about it in a group chat, and I was like, "This looks interesting."
I don't know. I might have mentioned it a little while ago, but I wasn't really talking about it too much.
Yeah.
It was fun. If you like the Muppets or you like the Disney Haunted Mansion, it's cool. We also watched. Have you seen the Family Matters Halloween special?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my fucking god, it is horrifying. It is horrific. You know Family Matters, right? Family Matters with fucking Steve Urkel and Carl Winslow and like
it that. Sounds familiar. I can't associate like faces to it.
It's the Mr. I Do That. Like it's a Big Bang Theory, but good, like it's like classic 90s sitcom.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So in like season 8, they did a Halloween special, right? And it was called Stevel, and it was Urkel's name is Steve, and so Steve gets a ventriloquist dummy that looks exactly like him in this horrific fashion. It is terrifying. It's a disgusting, disturbing looking puppet. I can pull it up on. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of it, and I think hopefully it'll show it. So he gets this ventriloquist dummy, and it's horrifying. It's this terrifying thing. The thing fucking comes to life. Let me hear. I feel bad for audio listeners, but share screen.
Are you gonna make it your background?
I should. Yeah, I'm gonna move. No, I'll just screen share. I think it should.
Yeah.
Hopefully it records it. But so this is the fucking dummy, right?
Oh,
this is it's terrifying. It comes to life. It fucking kills everybody.
It looks basically. So angry.
It's like genuinely really scary for a 90s sitcom Halloween special. And it comes out of nowhere. And then they did a sequel to it, which was also like equally fucked up. Like it was just out of, because we've been watching all these Halloween specials of shows, and we were like, oh, most of these are just fun little spooky things. That was like scary.
Like
they get like child to wear a suit to look like the dummy, and he walks around way too normally. It's horrific, and I really like it. It was really
That's
fun.
Not healthy. That's not healthy.
It's really
either.
Not.
Oh god.
But yeah, definitely recommend that. Yeah. We finished Danganronpa, which that was good. Good. We need to play like the third game, but it's not like connected.
Yeah.
I had something else too, and I forgot. Oh, Stargirl. I love Stargirl.
You keep saying that show is good.
Stargirl's great.
It's not that I'm not sold. I will watch it eventually.
It's fucking fantastic. It's like it's Superman and Lois quality. Like
Is it always Superman and Lois quality though, or is it like?
A couple times it like can sort. It doesn't get CW high school quality because it's a high school show. Yeah, it's like a Spider-Man show. Really, it's like a good Spider-Man show, and it's about like the Golden Age characters, which I don't know that much about. So it's like really refreshing to be like, oh shit, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and I really like that. Like it's about the JSA, and it's about like it's obviously there's like the Jeff Johns stuff, and that's kind of it's fucked. Yeah. But like Jeff Johns is kind of involved with everything DC,
Yeah, they put his name on everything because they think it means something.
But obviously he's very clearly involved with the show because the character is based on his sister. That's his character and stuff. Yeah, and it's like shit. But the show itself on its own as a show is really really good. and like I really recommend it for anybody. They're just doing really cool stuff. I got really emotional in the last episode. And it was funny because I just watched the Injustice movie, so like it was a good little whiplash.
2 levels of,
It was a good, it was like, oh shit, I hate this. Oh, okay, yeah, DC's actually good.
There you go.
But like, I don't know. There's something about it's so refreshing. It feels like, I don't know. Obviously, yeah, there are some CW-ness things to it where like one of the high school girls is actually 30 years old, but she doesn't look that like crazy, you know.
And I think
they do really cool stuff, you know?
Because I saw they brought back John Leslie. Fuck, I can't talk. John Leslie Ship. Yeah. And they have Joel McHale as one of like Starman.
Yeah, Joel McHale's Starman,
which is kind of cool.
And he's pretty good.
Yeah.
John Wesley Shipp was just in the one episode so far, but I'm assuming
it's not his same version of the Flash, right? They said it was like a different.
I think it is.
Okay.
I don't know. It's I mean, there's Crisis, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
They said that it
wasn't.
Yes.
They said it wasn't, but I still think it's fine to assume it is, just because it's like
his version.
He's in the same suit too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just gonna pretend it is because like who cares?
Who cares? Yeah.
And he's really good. It's really fun. They've got Green Lantern stuff. They've got Solomon Grundy. They've got they had Jade, which I've never heard of that character, and I was like, this is really fucking cool because it's not Green Lantern. It's Alan Scott Green Lantern. So it's magic Green Lantern and like cool shit. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I really
classic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and Grundy was in it. Fucking Artemis is in it, and Tigress. And Sportsmaster is the best. Sportsmaster is the most fun fucking character I've ever seen in a DC show.
There's so many just weird like Young Justice throw-ins in here.
Well, because Young Justice had a lot of Golden Age stuff like out of nowhere. But Sportsmaster is fucking hilarious. He and Tigress is in it too, and they're married. They're part of the Injustice Society, and that's the season 1 villain, but they show up for an episode in season 2. They're not actually like evil. They're just really hardcore jocks that love fitness so much, and they're this is the only thing that I can keep up up with me physically.
Why?
And so they're not really like that bad.
It's like Javelin and Suicide Squad, where he's just like, I'll just be an Olympian for no reason,
basically, and
be a bad guy.
And they were and Sportsmaster was even like, I don't really care about the ISA. That's not. They're like kind of assholes. And then in season 2, they literally break out of prison specifically just to go watch their daughter play football. Like that's it. And they're talking to the guy who's played by Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson's brother, and he's really good.
Yeah.
They're talking with Pat, and they're like, "Hey, we're not going to go commit any crimes. We just want to go see our daughter. Can you just let us do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." It is really sweet, and it's like really. There's a lot of like. It's a very wholesome show.
It's like funny sweet kind of thing.
Yeah. Season one is really wholesome. It's a super wholesome show. Season 2 is getting kind of fucked up. It's getting kind of dark because they've got Eclipso. It's literally the best. It's the best version of the Green Goblin costume. I'm gonna say it. I
saw you tweet that. Yeah.
It's the best. It actually looks really good, even in like bright lighting.
It looked cool. Yeah.
It's not obviously it's not like movie quality, but like it looked for a CW show. It's actually like pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really recommend it. If you like, it's a short show. Like it's only like 13 episodes a season.
Yeah, that's better.
The CW app sucks. I fucking hate the CW app. I cannot stand that. It's awful.
I tried when they used to like release episodes for free and shit. I used to try to catch them on that app, and it sucked. Even the site sucks in general.
Like just the ads are just it's like 3-minute ads every time.
Yeah, it's like because it's like you're watching it on TV, and it's like
but it's the same ads over and over again. That's the most annoying part.
Yeah.
It's and then just the app doesn't. It's a whole thing. But And then I watched Injustice, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, Injustice is a good thing.
Oh, and What If? We can talk about What If.
Oh, and What If? Yeah, we have thoughts on What If.
Did you do anything? What did before we get into What If?
I did a few things. Yeah, I did a few things. First off, I got my Lego tumbler. I don't know if I showed this off last episode. Did I?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
I don't. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. But so what I did with my Lego tumbler. This is
audio listeners are gonna have a great time.
They're gonna have. This is the box, right? This is fucking.
It does.
You can't see it. I hate that you can't. Okay, fuck Titans. Honestly, fuck the Titans for showing up in my background instead. Point is,
Mithi doesn't like Titans.
The point is, this thing has so much. It's a great design. It's probably my favorite like Lego set thing ever. Right? Just because you can't see it. I hate that you can't see it.
I love that.
But there's yellow studs on it. The roof rack thing is kind of a little weird. There's a lot of yellow and a bit of like weird spots of gray. And so what I did is I took pieces from my Ghost Rider thing, and then like a couple of extra pieces I got from the Daily Bugle that were black, and I basically like fully coated it.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm standing over it so that you can actually see it, but I basically like fully turned it black, which was kind of cool.
That looks a lot better.
Because like now in the darkness, it just looks like really, really dark. The darkness, and I like that. Yeah, classic the Batman. Darkness, no parents. But yeah, that was fun. Also, this is weird, and I'll go on a tangent for a little bit about this.
Go for it.
I rewatched this thing.
Oh, that movie.
Right?
Heard of that.
I love this movie. It is still
it's a good
probably
movie.
It is still probably on my top 10 list. Yep. Rewatching it, I noticed a lot more problems. Like not like things that ruined it for me, because it's still on my top 10. But the dialogue in that movie is just really fucking weird.
It's rough.
There's so many weird like lines. Like the first 15 minutes are perfect. I think the first 15 minutes are a perfect thing in any like Batman thing ever made. But then after that, there's just so many weird decisions as far as the escalation of that character. Even this the thing of like he's like fighting crime, and it's a fun moment, and I like it because it's comic booky and it's nice. When he like first suits up in the suit, he beats up everyone, knocks out Falcone, and is like, I'm Batman, and he's like nice coat, and then flies away. And I'm like, that just doesn't fit in the same movie as the first 15 minutes.
Yeah,
you know?
I like that scene a lot too, but I agree it's a little like, I don't know. It feels a little bit weird, and it doesn't even feel like Nolan's style. It feels like
it doesn't
be like
exactly. Yeah, which I wonder if it even was Nolan's decision to do some of those things, because he has told like on podcasts and like other stuff before. He's like, I don't regret anything about that experience, regardless of like whatever stuff I had to deal with, you know, which makes me think he probably had to deal with a few things of like, well, remember the Schumacher movies had this thing in them, and this movies had this thing in them, so throw a little dash of something. So,
which I wonder if maybe with Batman Begins he had more of that, because that was the first one in that series, and then with, I'm assuming, I would definitely assume with Dark Knight Rises he probably was allowed to do whatever the fuck he wanted. Yeah. And then maybe with Dark Knight he probably had a little bit more freedom too. Yeah. With Dark Knight Rises, he had probably a little too much freedom. Yeah, I don't hate Dark Knight Rises. I don't hate it either. I think it's a good movie. I will say I think Begins is my favorite of the trilogy, though. Yeah, like, no, easily. Me too. I think Begins is probably my favorite Batman movie. It's like, same here. It's not perfect, and it's not like perfect Batman and stuff, but it's definitely Bale at his best Batman. You know? Yeah. Yep. Like, I feel like with Dark Knight, he's just kind of like coasting, it feels like. Yeah. He's a side character in that movie more than he really is a main character. And that's like, fuck, that kind of sucks. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know, I feel like his physical stature and the way he presents himself as Bruce and as Batman is a lot better. Like, it feels more American Psycho, you know? Yeah. Where he's definitely pulling from American Psycho for Batman Begins, less so than in the other ones, you know? Yeah. Where in the other ones, he's kind of just playing a normal guy. And there are scenes, like the scene in The Dark Knight where like, he intentionally gets hit by the car, and he's talking to Gordon, he's like, oh, I don't know who's in there. Like, that's a really nice moment. I really like that. Yeah. But it feels like there's more of that in Begins, because it's not, I mean, like, Cillian Murphy, as good as he is, he doesn't try to... You thought you could just sneak that in there and let it get past me? Hey, oh no. But like, as good as he is as Scarecrow, is like in as good as Liam Neeson is as raw as Al Ghul. Yeah, because that's not Ra's al Ghul. It's not Ra's al Ghul. Because Ra's al Ghul is not white. Yep. Ra's al Ghul is not fucking white. Everybody. Yeah. That's the worst part about that movie. Even the twist of, okay, Liam Neeson's lines in the third act are all like shit. I'm sorry. I like his character. It's funny and cool sometimes, but like, oh, this is how he talks the whole time. He's like, it's like Bane is in the third movie, not this movie, for God's sake. And it's like, I don't know. I get it, but then even when the assassins come down and he's like, oh, you want to deal with more of them? Okay, here are more of them. Yeah. And they're just wearing the fucking straight, like their suits are just like round. They're so round. They're not even like muscle suits or anything. They're just like weird, like blocky, like Lego textures almost. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like those Spy Kids thumbs. Kind of, honestly. It looks so smooth and weird. And like, I feel that movie, of the three of them, it is still my favorite. Yeah. And it is my favorite Batman movie.
of the three of them, that is the one that has aged the worst. It makes sense because it was 2005. Because I think I said this to someone else. There are certain lines and moments in Batman Begins that feel more like they come out of a Raimi film than they do out of a Batman film, you know? And that's fine, but it's like as the Schumacher movies are more in line with the Raimi films, you know? And it feels like they're forcing some of that kind of camp instead of like a natural camp, you know? Like The Dark Knight has natural camp to it, like moments where it's like, oh, you'll take the Lamborghini instead. Okay, that's funny. And then he goes in the Lamborghini. And those moments work. More so than in Batman Begins, where the comedy feels a little bit more misplaced. But that's my take on Batman Begins. Still fucking 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 movie for me. I just noticed a few more things now.
Yeah, and it's that's valid.
Yeah, and Inception's still my favorite Nolan movie though.
Yeah,
I think that will stay the same. Yeah.
It's like crazy how like nobody talks enough about Inception. I feel like everybody only talks about the most recent Nolan film.
Yeah,
and it's like Inception is easily his peak. Like Interstellar's fine. I didn't like Interstellar too much, but I also watched it in class, over the course of like a week, like in 40-minute chunks. So it's probably not the best viewing experience. But
I haven't watched Interstellar, and I should, but I don't know.
It's cool. It's like there are times when it feels a little too, like it's sucking its own dick with its like science stuff. Like, okay, I get it. You talk to scientists. Fucking, you know who else talked to scientists? These babies.
These guys.
Fucking Big Bang Theory did it first. You're never going to top them, Nolan.
Don't
Christopher Nolan's The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But no,
I want to see him do...
It's interesting how, like, people are so divided on it in, like, the people that are, like, people dislike it for such a wide range of reasons. Where some people hate it for being like too genuine. Basically, there's like a whole monologue about love, and like I really love that moment. I think it's actually really good. But like people that can't stand genuine emotion in film fucking hate that scene. Yeah. But then there are times where who loves the genuine emotion, I'm like, man, this gets too cold. This gets too scientific for a while, which might be the point. It's possible that's the point. I don't know. I need to rewatch it.
It's a differently crafted film, and I think that Nolan is a craftsman. So he crafts things together more than he just lets something flow. Yeah. You know, I feel like other directors just let things flow on camera, and he more so makes sure he's like assembling a Rubik's Cube together.
Yeah, it feels a little bit. It feels. I haven't seen Dunkirk and I haven't seen Tenet, but it feels like that was the last time Nolan was like making a movie for other people, if that makes sense. Yeah. Dunkirk,
Tenet is a movie.
Definitely feel like it was a movie made for him, which that's fine. Yeah. That's valid. I haven't seen it, and I'm probably never gonna see it because he says you have to watch it in the theater.
In the theaters, yeah. I said this somewhere. I don't remember if it was a podcast or if I just said it to a friend. With Nolan movies, it's like going on a date with someone. Yeah. And if you're into bowling and she's into bowling, and then you go to a bowling ring, then you both have a great time bowling. You go back home, and everything's fun and dandy.
Fuck. Yeah.
You fuck. Yes, that's my way of saying
We're gonna
fun
fuck
and dandy is my way. Yes. So that's what Batman Begins is to some people. Yeah. That's what The Dark Knight is to people. That's what Inception is to people. You fucking Christopher Nolan, because you're both into the same shit.
Yeah.
But then with Tenet, it's like, okay, so I'll go out on a date.
You're on a date with a film bro at that point.
You're on a date with a film bro.
Yeah.
And it's like you go and like, what's a really weird date idea? You go bicycling, you know? And like you're not really into bicycling. And you're spending way too long.
Both cyclists, that's a weird thing to do. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what Tenet was to a lot of people. To me, I was kind of into cycling, you know? And so I was like, this is fun. But then I still like went back home and like thought for like a full hour whether or not I wanted it.
We had a fun time. We didn't fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like
he'll tell everybody that you fucked. That's a Nolan thing to do. He'll tell all his friends.
Yeah. He'll make sure you are the only one that fucked with him, and you never fucked with anyone else for 100 days consecutively.
Speaking of weird dates, though, I just remembered something else that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Sexy Beasts on Netflix?
No, but I've heard of it.
It is the dating show where people wear these horrific, terrifying prosthetics to make them look like animals.
Ooh, yeah.
It's so much fun. I adore it. It's so fucking weird. It's like
sounds like
it's not a furry thing either. It's the premise is like, okay, we take people and we take the looks out of the picture, and we give it a fully blind date by making them these terrifying monsters.
But then it ends up becoming distracting almost.
No, it's a little bit, but like sometimes once you get used to it, once you get over the fact that like, oh boy, this is disturbing. But the makeup is actually really good. I kind of think it deserves an Emmy.
Really?
Like I just
for that.
They need to pull
if the Suicide Squad
on
one. If they put the Suicide Squad on it, then they could put this on it.
Which my opinion on Suicide Squad's Oscar has changed. Have I told you this?
I think you mentioned it a lot, but I don't know what you've told me your opinion.
Because I used to be like, oh yeah, they deserve the Oscar because look at Killer Croc. And then I remember that Star Trek Beyond came out that same year. Star Trek Beyond deserved it so much more, so much more. They fucking like redefined. They made new prosthetic and makeup techniques. For Beyond. Yeah. So that was a little. Yeah. I get why people would be like
mad. By that. Yeah. But then how many of them are Trekkies? I guess it's like some people just hate Suicide Squad. So who knows? But yeah. Other than that, what else did I do? I mean, I watched Ted Lasso. I think that's the one other big thing. Finale was amazing. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I'm gonna say fuck, what's his name? The one I think he's Indian.
Oh no,
the Indian guy. The ending of the show, he keeps his hair keeps getting grayer and grayer, and at the end of the show, he like straight up looked like an Indian actor that I know in Bollywood. That I was like, okay, this is cool. No, but the second season of the show was amazing. Like truly, Ted Lasso is my favorite show now, just straight up. And I am very excited for season 3, and everyone needs to watch season 2. You should watch season 2 now.
I know.
Now that's done.
I didn't realize it was over. So, we'll probably watch that soon.
But yeah,
I really love season 1. I've just been meaning to catch up with that. But yeah, do you want to talk about What If now?
Yeah, we can talk. Do we want to talk about What If first or Injustice?
Let's talk about What If first, because like, more people I feel like have seen What If. It's been a little longer, and nobody's gonna watch Injustice, so.
Yeah, okay.
And but we will talk about
Injustice. If you're only here to talk about Injustice for some reason, people on Twitter talk about it. People on Twitter are talking about it.
Are they? Maybe I will make a video about it. I don't know.
Yeah, but
What If? You got my mind thinking about Injustice, but no, What If? Because I forgot What If came out this week. I forgot it.
No.
Me too. We watched it together, you and I, and I don't remember anything about it.
We stayed up. It was 2 a.m. for me, and I watched it, and then I went to sleep like an hour later.
It's 2 a.m. I just finished watching season 1 of What If, and I feel like I forgot that
nothing.
It happens.
I feel literally nothing. This show was fine. It's not. I don't think this show was bad, but I said it on Twitter, and I got clout on Twitter for saying this. Thank God I did.
Good
because
job.
It was genuine.
So proud of you.
The biggest issue with the show, and the biggest issue with the show, is its pacing, and not in its pacing within each episode specifically, but the fact that overall the concepts the show is trying to tackle are like this. Yeah. They're these huge fucking. It's this entire Titans team is the concepts they're trying to tackle, right? But the space they have to tackle them is just Nightwing's little head right here.
Yeah.
They're trying to cram all of this into like this tiny fucking space, and Nightwing is getting so pressurized that his head is about to fucking pop just into two. Like that's how this show is structured, and I don't get why Marvel is so adamant on them tackling these huge big I get okay, you want to tackle Marvel Zombies because people like Marvel Zombies and you tackle that. But why do it in a way that it's so world-ending? Just tackle one specific thing, But like a specific set of
Marvel
characters.
Zombies could have very easily been a small scope thing about, oh shit, Peter Parker and all of his, Peter Parker has to fight zombies for an hour or something, you know? Exactly. Like a Shaun of the Dead type thing, defend the thing until people get there. But instead they try to do World War Z. They try to tell a whole movie with it in 30 minutes.
But they have only 30 minutes. Not even 30 minutes, 25 minutes.
25,
it's
And it's this is why I talked about this when we talked about the zombie episode, but it's why Deceased, it's crazy how Deceased does basically all the same plot points. But it does them so much better because it's given the extra time. And Deceased isn't even that much longer. The original series, it's not that much. Yeah. But just the medium of comics allows for a little bit more room to grow and stuff, I just I
the feel only thing the one thing I will say though that's kind of a disclaimer but not exactly. They said that originally some of these episodes were meant to be 10 to 15 minutes longer. But then because of the pandemic, they shortened them. I don't understand how that would happen because it's an animated show. But regardless...
I think it's a matter of animators getting because it's like not, you can't animate with like a MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
Like it's getting, and then rendering times and all these things. Like there's a whole thing that goes into, especially 3D animation.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, like specifically with the amount of time in each episode, it says a couple things to me. It says that the 30-minute thing, granted, you've thrown a whole wrench into this by bringing up the fact that they were supposed to be longer.
That's the one thing that like makes me kind of feel bad, but I don't know how much that goes. You know,
To
what
sure
degree does
Marvel
that
Zombies
cause
was supposed to be longer, but like
yeah,
some of them probably weren't. But it's like, it feels like they're saying, oh yeah, it's animated, it's a cartoon, it has to be a half hour, you know, and it's like, that's not really, it's such a limited way of, you know, it's like it's like saying that a comedy has to be 30 minutes long. Like, no, it could be longer, or it could be shorter. Like,
yeah.
And then the other thing is like, because everything is so rushed, because of the time restraints, it feels like they are asking the audience to fill in a lot of the gaps themselves, not necessarily with plot, or sometimes with plot, but also with like character stuff and with character emotions and why they do certain things. Yeah. Instead of like showing, you know, which is why I feel like this is a show made specifically for like Marvel fans already, which is like nothing wrong with that. That makes sense. Already, MCU stands, because it's like they will fill in those gaps. They will be like, oh yeah, Wanda would say this would happen because of this, and it's in their own headcanon type thing. And so they're able to have a good time with that. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. But for somebody who is not like a big, and when we watched it with Tyler, who is a big Marvel stan. He's not a stan, but he is a big MCU fan.
He's a fan. He's a big fan of all these
he wasn't into the show either. So it's like that threw a wrench into my whole hypothesis as well.
Yeah. And it's with this show, and especially with the finale, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in the finale. Out of context, the stuff that happens in the finale is the craziest stuff that ever happened in the MCU. Yeah. Right? You don't feel it at all. Nope. You don't feel a single ounce of that just because of the way this show is structured. It's not meant to.
I think it would have been. I think it would have been a lot cooler, personally. I think they should have saved the whole assembling of the team for like the season 3 finale or something. Yeah. I think the season 1 finale of season 1 being every episode actually matters. That doesn't really line up with how What If it like should be, in my opinion. Yeah. What If is an anthology series. The comic, I mean. It is a thing about what if this happened and wouldn't that suck, you know? Yep. Like that's like the whole point. Or wouldn't that be cool? And then you move on. And you know, it's just an exploration of different concepts. And then when you say, "Oh, actually you have to watch this one because they come back for their multiverse Avengers." And it's just like, "Really? You're going to make me watch a What If?" That's like forcing somebody to read the What If Flash Thompson was Spider-Man. Like I have it. I haven't read it yet, but it's cool. Like it's
why? Yeah,
you know, like it's forcing somebody to read a What If to understand another What If. Yeah. It's like that just doesn't really line up with how I think the series is like special for. Yeah, and just like I said it I said it when we were watching the finale. This show really feels like fan fiction, in not necessarily like terrible fan fiction. Yeah. But in like you are just barely.
It feels like specifically Lego fan fiction.
Yeah,
because you take the Infinity Stone thing. You're a little bit off
of the comic. You're a little bit off of the characters. You're a little bit off of like, you're so close to how somebody would actually be acting, but you're focusing so much more on the fun factor. Yeah, the fun of writing factor than you are on like actual storytelling stuff. Yep. And not to say that the storytelling is bad and stuff, but like, and granted, I haven't seen all the episodes. I'm not gonna see all the episodes. I'm not gonna watch them. They don't interest me. If that doesn't interest me, I'm not gonna watch it. That's how you're supposed to view What If. But like, it feels very much like with Marvel Zombies. It seems like, oh, we just had fun writing these characters in the zombie thing, versus how would these characters actually react to these things?
I don't think that. It's not that the writers weren't taking the entire premise seriously, but they weren't really, you know? Like, it was a lot of just, okay, we know how the characters act, let's do a couple of those things in here and just write a story based on whatever the environment surrounds. Yeah. And it's like, that feels kind of formulaic, honestly.
Like, and it's not a huge deal. I feel like this shouldn't have been a weekly show. This shouldn't have been the big Marvel thing. What If, I think, should be a show that is coming out all the time. Basically, or not even all the time, but just like release the whole season at once. Yeah. Like make it just a little side thing while Falcon the Winter Soldier is going on, you know?
Yeah,
like when like Fridays you've got your live action show that's the big discourse thing, but then for the Marvel fans, for the big stands, you've got What If on Tuesdays, and it's like okay, it's a little thing, it's a little fun thing.
First of all, I get, I don't know, why are they releasing this on Wednesday mornings again? Is there,
I don't know,
or Tuesday mornings?
No, is it? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday morning.
Wednesday mornings.
I don't know. Friday was a much better day. For that? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know why they started like that's why part of why I didn't watch Loki, because it was just like the schedule.
Why am I going to do this in the middle of the week? Yeah. Especially if it's like staying up, you know.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I don't have to like it's midnight for me, so it's not like that crazy. And I stay up till fucking like 3 or 4 every night. So but like for East Coast people, I feel terrible. But like I don't know, it just like I was the most excited for this show. This was the like What If when they announced it, I was like, this is going to be the best thing. This was the thing that they're going to explore these characters. They're going to explore this world in a way that the concrete. Oh, I bumped my mic. In a way that like the concrete, serious way, like linear storytelling of the MCU just couldn't. You know.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel like they really reached that potential, and that's why I'm like the most disappointed with it. Because there is a lot of potential with What If. Like it's a hugely potential filled thing, you know. And instead of like reaching that, instead of doing something that was, I don't know, it just they could turn around for season 2, but it felt like in terms of the interesting like actual concepts of the What Ifs, I think really the only ones that worked for me are the 3rd episode, the What If All the Avengers Died, and not that the episode was good, but Marvel Zombies makes sense as a what if. You know, because they are little things that lead into big stuff. Versus like, and
it's kind of like you know, it's kind of like, you know, the you know how they did Army of the Dead, and then now they're doing a spin-off show with the guy who robbed stuff. You know, Marvel Zombies feels kind of like that, where it's like you can do spin-offs from Marvel Zombies into like its own shit, just potential wise. You know. And I mean, I don't know if you can do that with Army of the Dead, because I don't know what the fuck they're doing with that show.
I haven't seen Army of the Dead.
It's weird. It's a whole thing. But I don't know with this show especially with season 2. You know, they're not gonna really probably do new what ifs. They're probably just gonna go back to the old ones and then be like,
which that's weird to me.
I don't like that.
Like, did people really get that attached to Party Thor?
No.
I'm gonna like. I know you like that episode. When I saw,
I like that episode just because it's fun. That's the only reason.
In the finale, I was like, "This is the worst character." I hated him.
He is kind of stupid. Yeah,
like it's like Thor without any of the character development.
Yeah, it's stupid Thor. Yeah, and the reason I liked the episode is just because it reminded me of Looney Tunes, and I like seeing. No, that's valid.
I haven't seen the episode, so I'm sure that would be fun. But like trying to make him like one of the multiverse Avengers. It's just like, what? Also, we got to talk about the fact that the one episode where
that got cut
is the most
Gamora's not in it,
really important.
And fucking Tony and his Hulkbuster armor or whatever is not in it, and they just cut that.
That's the funniest thing to me. That's
and
the
then they were
funniest thing to me.
Do you know what was even funnier? When they were like, the Infinity Stone Crusher, it destroys all the Infinity Stones. It did it in my world, and I'm like, we're probably supposed to have context for this, gonna be a spoiler, but we have nothing.
It's really funny to me. Which is why, like, it's weird. Which is why, like, I don't think What If should be reliant on other episodes. Yeah, that's just strange to me. You know, I mean, like, obviously some of them could be. Like, do a Captain Carter episode next season. Do a Marvel Zombies one next season. Don't bring back Party Thor again. Don't bring back that Killmonger. Don't bring back like you know, like there are certain things that can go for longer, but then there are certain things that it's like, okay, leave it there. But I have this feeling that they're going to keep bringing back the ones that aren't that interesting.
Or like Ultron and Killmonger are going to escape that fucking cube or whatever, and that's going to be a thing probably.
Really? Is this just their way to bring back Killmonger? Because that's weird.
Maybe. I could see them doing that. I think they're going to bring back Killmonger for Black Panther 2.
Yeah. Probably. It would make sense. I if they can do it naturally, I wouldn't hate it.
But I feel like they would do it more naturally with live action, just with the same creative team than they would in the show. Just because the show is like a mess of.
It's just weird
all
to
these
like
Marvelisms.
Bring in multiverse stuff into something like Black Panther, which is like, I mean, like, not to say that Black Panther was like a realistic thing, but it was relatively grounded. It was relatively like consistent with its own.
The character work was relatively grounded. Yeah, the characters were going through things that you could put in the real world.
Yeah, and I think the reason I like Black Panther more than a lot of other things is that it felt very disconnected from the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch Black Panther without watching Civil War. You can watch Black
Which is
Panther
why it
without
made so
watching
much
anything.
money too.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people who watched that movie were big Marvel fans.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just like, this is a cool movie, and it's like it's obviously it's got problems, and I don't love the third act, but like, it's a solid, good movie with good camera work and good character work and good, like, all these things. And then to be like, oh, you have to watch Loki to understand Black Panther 2. It's like, what? You have to watch What If to get why Killmonger.
You have to
is
watch
back.
Loki. You have to watch. It's like people make those comparisons and like sometimes they're jokes, but like legitimately, now you have to watch Loki to understand Ant-Man the Wasp.
Yeah.
And it's like
really? Oh yeah,
because it's the same villain, you know. And it's like that's kind of like
we will see how Ant-Man the Wasp does it. I hope not, because I feel like you could just bring in Kang. Just bring
you
it. Like,
probably could.
Yeah. I do think a lot of that stuff is overstated. Like a lot of the oh, you have to watch this to understand this is very overstated. People said you had to watch Captain Marvel to understand Infinity War or Endgame or whatever. You did not. You did not. She just shows up.
You just need to know that she was cast in the role.
Yeah,
That's
you don't. And you didn't need to watch Doctor Strange before watching Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, but I feel like, and I don't know if it's specifically Marvel is telling you this, or if it's the fans. If it's the discourse
implying
saying
that
you
need
to,
to,
you know?
yeah,
like the people that said you had to watch Loki to understand the No Way Home trailer. What? No, you fucking don't. No, you fucking don't.
They said the multiverse. Just go to a dictionary and look up what the multiverse
Just
means.
watch any DC thing and they'll just bring it up out of nowhere.
Just watch Big Bang Theory. They'll talk about the multiverse.
Yeah, there we go.
And that.
Yeah, Sheldon knows about the multiverse. Speaking of DC and the multiverse, you want to move on to Injustice?
Oh god, that movie. Oh, by the way, before we move on to Injustice, any like thoughts on the actual episode, the What If finale episode?
No, none.
No, yeah, me neither.
We talked about while we were watching this. I feel like there was this wasted opportunity where it was like the episode before this was where the Watcher like actually intervened. You know, it was episode was this episode 10 was the most recent one?
Episode 9. This was episode 9.
9 is the finale. 8 is okay. Episode 8 he like fights Ultron and intervenes.
Yeah,
I think they should have pushed that to episode 9, make that the finale, and then give us a really gratifying, satisfying moment of like, oh fuck, the Watcher is really powerful. He's bringing in 100 Infinity Gauntlets and like 50 Thanoses and 100 Wandas to fight this Ultron thing. Like.
Yeah.
Go crazy with it, because it felt like the most that the Watcher did is, here is this team of people you already
and I know the future, so do it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like you have this opportunity of like, we understand the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, we understand how strong Wanda is.
Yeah.
Now imagine
and also them having
that
drinks together and shit. Like in that moment, I'm like, why?
Yeah,
it was just all. I mean, we were also just talking with Tyler. We were talking over the whole episode with Tyler for a lot of that. But like, even still, that's a symbol of us not being engaged with all these characters meeting because it didn't matter to us.
It didn't matter, yeah. And I just feel like at the very least, it could have been a fun fan servicey moment of like, oh, this is really cool. This guy that, you know, like, just because it's like we have this understanding of how strong these things are, right?
Yeah.
We don't have that for the Watcher just yet. He's so like incomprehensible.
Because we just see him at the end of the front of every episode until like episode 7.
It's like he's so powerful that we physically can't comprehend it. And a way to comprehend it for the audience would be, hey, here's that thing that is the strongest thing you know of. This guy can bring in 1,000 of them. You know, that would have been really cool. I don't know. And like but it feels like all he did was just open up portals.
Yeah.
And bring
because that is what he did.
That is what he did.
That's like Doctor Strange carried the whole thing. That's it.
Yeah.
You know? And
that was weird too. I was kind of like, that guy's the evil Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That's like,
you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? No one was talking about the moment where he like eats the Soul Stone or whatever. Oh, yeah, I see like that clip sometimes where he's like, the universe goes down and he just goes, oh, and I'm like,
that was really funny.
The fuck? Okay, sure. I'm just waiting for the What If episode where Ant-Man goes up Thanos' ass, because that's an old joke and I want to see Marvel burn to the ground. There we go. You know? I still
think what if Peter joined Captain America? That would be a really interesting one. I think could actually fit within 30 minutes. You know?
Yeah, you could, because you just focus on Peter and not really anyone else. But yeah, What If total for me 5 out of 10, which is below average.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 just because like I had really high hopes for it.
Yeah. But yeah,
it just
whatever.
It didn't
do a season 2.
Yeah, and in season 2 this is a show that's really easy to turn around. you know?
Yeah.
It's not like they're stuck, but they just have to change their mindset, I think, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess now we want to talk about the one and only, the greatest movie of all time. The movie that came out. I don't even know when it came out. I just saw it
yesterday, didn't it? I don't know. You're the one that told me that it came out.
I think it came out either yesterday or the day before. I'm blaming
you now. This is your fault for making me watch that movie.
I suggested because I was like, you ruined
my night. You ruined my night.
I did, and I'm so happy I did. I ruined my own night with that. Me and CJ and Scribe were like, "Yeah, let's watch it. Why not?" And we watched it, and we didn't. I'll be honest, right? I have not read the comics.
Yeah.
Right. I have not. I've read parts of the comics, and I'll be honest, I read parts of the comics, and the only other exposure I had to it was Comic Story made like an hour-long video, and I was like 13 years old, and I just fucking watched it because why not?
Yeah.
But I thought it was fine. There were parts of it when I first finished watching it with Scribe in CJ, I was like, okay, I kind of liked a good amount of things in this, so maybe I like the movie. And then I woke up this morning and I just thought about all the shit that this movie did. It like kind of just all flashed in my head like a flashback, and I'm like, fuck, that's kind of weird. And now Twitter is talking about it too, and I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't think I hate it as much as you hate it.
Yes, I hate it. I feel I have not hated a movie in a very long time. It's kind of refreshing.
Here's your soapbox.
Here's your soapbox. Thank you very much.
Go.
I haven't hated something in so long. I was worried that like, oh man, I've been getting soft. I think things are just okay at best or at worst.
Yeah.
No, I actually hated this.
Yeah.
For context, I have read the comic. I love the comic. I think there's obviously some problems with it. Like Wonder Woman is not the best in the comic.
Tom Taylor, right?
Yeah, Tom Taylor. It was his first like big thing, I think, and he killed it. Like he took, that comic is fantastic. Like it's easily the best Evil Superman thing out there, except maybe Invincible. But like Invincible's like kind of once you get past like the season 1 stuff for Invincible, it's not like really. It's not an Evil Superman story. Like
they hook you in with
sort of spoilers for after season 1 of Invincible. Once what they're gonna do, Omni-Man isn't really the villain anymore. He's I'm not gonna. That's all I'll say. But like. I love the Invincible comic the Injustice comic because it's like, this is a really good first, ignoring the fact that it's another Evil Superman thing, it is actually a really good first comic to read, first DC thing, because it is essentially a guided tour through the entire DC universe. You go through Superman, the Justice League stuff within, Justice League stuff obviously, but then you go to the Lanterns, then you go to Ra's al Ghul stuff, then you go to the fucking Constantine stuff, and Dr. Fate, and Black Canary, and like, it's fucking Detective Chimp, and like it's a huge fucking like catalog of the DC thing, and that's why I like Deceased as well, which is another Tom Taylor thing, and I think Deceased is actually a little bit better for it now. I like Deceased a little bit more than Injustice. And
it's like Tom Taylor took what he learned from Injustice and then went to Deceased with that.
And like the book is filled with these really fantastic character moments of basically B-listers. Like I don't know if I would call Black Canary a B-lister. I think I'd call her a C-lister. But like not A-list characters, Yeah. Obviously, there are good moments with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash. Not so much Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman does suck in the comics, and she is
Wonder Woman
a little
sucks
bit better.
In this too. And
she sucks at first. She is better than she is in the comics. I will not lie. But that's a very low bar. I think the Injustice comics is the worst Wonder Woman. Yeah, and I feel bad saying that, but I think that's a limitation of the comics.
They make her a bitch in every adaptation of this material, and it's kind of funny to me that they do.
Well, the thing
I want to see a version where they don't.
It's really hard to. Like, with the Injustice comics, with Wonder Woman, you have Superman, who was fucking Superman, going evil and going down the dark path. Yeah.
But it's really like hard to make Wonder Woman do that
also, and make it, like, believable. So it's like, okay, fuck, we're just going to write her like Jeff Johns' Wonder Woman, who is a warrior that cuts people's heads off and sucks. Yeah. And I don't like it. I don't love it. I feel like Tom Taylor doesn't really like it either. So it's like, this is a little bit better. But it's just like, okay, but so the movie though, so I love the comic, fucking great Green Arrow interactions, great Black Canary stuff, like all my favorite characters are written perfectly, and like there's a lot of really beautiful things and a lot of really smart things, and it's this long stretched out journey, not only through the multiverse, but like it's a slow fall for Superman. Like he doesn't go evil until like year 3 or 4, and this movie decided, okay, let's not do any of that, and let's make something that is. This is my really hot take that I didn't want to say on Twitter. This movie is made for Snyder fans. In a lot of
Oh,
ways. In a lot of
kind of.
ways.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Olsen gets shot in the face
Yeah.
in the first 5
You know,
minutes.
you know what happened in that scene? You know what happened in that scene?
Yeah.
He shot the camera, right? And it was like,
Yep.
oh shit, they broke his lens. That's probably an expensive lens. And the camera goes down and you see the bullet hole in
Yep.
it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Like-
and they just stay on his head. Like he fucking, doesn't he like step in the blood or some shit?
Something
and I'm
like that. I don't fucking remember. I was too
Okay,
busy.
come on.
I was too
Can we
busy
please
live
move past-
tweeting being like, what the fuck?
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But so okay,
Too
I'm just gonna say all of the things that are really similar to Snyder stuff. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, not
Yep.
not specifically Snyder stuff.
But feels weird that it's
But no,
Snyder-y,
like
kind of.
so there's the way Snyder does his characters, but then there's the way that people want the character. You know, so okay. Remember that picture of Wonder Woman that came out? That was like the concept thing
head,
with the head
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
How everybody wanted her to be written that way. Like in there, this is my Wonder Woman. It is for this movie is for people like that. You know, for people who want the Snyderverse to come back because they only like the characters depicted in the way that Snyder does it.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as when Snyder does it. I don't even love the Snyder stuff.
Are we doing no spoilers right now, or is it fine if we do spoilers? I think
No spoilers. Don't watch it. It sucks. Just read the comic instead. That's
okay.
my no.
I was
spoiler.
I was gonna reference a scene that is kind of spoilery.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about, I'm just gonna say Superman, red lasers. That scene was like very.
I'm gonna go. I will go
Snyder-y,
through
but-
all the things that stand out as Snyder things to me.
Okay.
Because they
okay.
are very ripping off. It feels like ripping off Snyder stuff. So
Okay,
firstly,
yeah.
obviously, fucking Jimmy Olsen getting shot in the face. That's a
Yep.
that's a Snyder thing.
Yeah.
Not saying they're intentionally copying it, but it feels like trying to appeal to Snyder fans.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Olsen gets shot in the face. Superman plows through this whole group of people with red laser eyes, and it's very
That's what I'm
similar
talking
looking
about.
to a lot of Snyder shots. There's a scene where Superman fights Superman from Earth 1, which comes out of nowhere. That's a weird fucking thing trying to adapt the game. It's really okay.
They do the
Tangent.
game move. They do the game move in it. Yeah.
Yeah. That quick tangent. This movie adapts 80% of year 1, 20% of all the other years, and then the game in an hour and 20 minutes. Why the fuck would they do that? That's a terrible adaptation.
They sped run the whole like series.
Yeah,
But
but then they
that's all
tried to
did.
force in other things with the Injustice comic. They tried to force in the Green Arrow and Harley stuff without having Black Canary. And so when you don't have Black Canary, then when Green Arrow dies... So have you read Green Arrow's death in comics?
I have, yes. Yes, I have.
It's a fucking beautiful moment.
It's an
so
insane
great.
moment.
It's so
And
good.
in this thing, it has the same problem as What If almost.
Yeah.
Where it's just all way too fast.
It's way too
this
fast.
moment he just goes like
But
he
just gets
shot,
lasered
right?
in the face.
No,
he gets lasered
yeah.
in the face. There's
Yeah, that's it.
there's in the comics, for anyone who doesn't know, Green Arrow gets beaten to death by Superman. And it's this first person shot of Superman just beating the shit out of Oliver, and Ollie's only thinking about Dinah, and he's like, I'm doing it for Dinah because he's like stalling for something, and it's this really fucked up sad moment that's really beautiful. And then in the fucking movie, Superman just lasers Oliver in the face. Everybody goes and leaves.
Yeah.
It's all it fucking is because there's no Canary, so you can't do like that serious character moment. And it just makes me think, like, why even have Green Arrow in this?
He feels like a pawn that's just meant to be killed in the
It
grand
really is,
sequence
yeah.
of the
And
events.
they have some of the nice Oliver and Harley moments, but it's like it doesn't have the weight to it. It doesn't have the okay. So the Oliver and Harley moments in the comic are a slow thing of fun to like break up the really fucked up shit in year 1, to break up the depressingness that is Superman in year 1, because it is depressing and it sucks.
Yeah.
With this, all this stuff kind of felt like it was just trying to. It saw the panel, it was just making the panel because that's what people think of with Injustice. And then, oh my god, there's too fucking much. There's too fucking much. Okay,
Yeah.
back to Snyder-y things though. Granted, I had a whole list and I can't remember them. The really big one that stands out to me though, when Earth 1 Superman shows up to fight Evil Superman and Justice Superman, they do a shot that is very similar to Man of Steel. But that might be more so similar to the...
That's the game. I think the one where he punches him twice, that's the game. That's a game reference.
Yeah, the game was taken from Man of Steel, which they took from the game, but I'm going to count it anyway.
Yeah.
But the thing that really fucking stood out to me as a Snyder thing was when they brought in another Earth's Lois to talk down the evil Superman. That's it, and it was Batman that brought her in as the thing to connect him back to humanity. It felt very much like
do you know what
Justice
that
League.
scene was? Do you know what that scene was? And I feel like this movie took from it took from year one, right? It took from the couple of the other comics. It took from the game.
Yeah.
And then it also took from it also took from Superman Red Son.
Yeah, I can see that.
A few of the things, especially that Lois Lane confrontation, the only thing I could think of was they just straight up fucking just stole the ending of Superman Red Son.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the ending of Superman Red Son.
Yeah, and that's not in the comics. Fun fact. That's not.
No.
So the thing that's really weird about the Lois Lane interaction, right? They bring in Earth, let's say Earth 3 Lois Lane. It's not Earth 3 Lois. We don't know the Earth number, but
22 or some shit.
Yeah, some fucking thing. And she's like, "Oh, I lost my Superman on my Earth." To try. That's what they did with Green Arrow and Black Canary. Yeah. That's literally what they did. They brought in Earth 3 Oliver, who lost his Dinah, and then they take Dinah and put her on Earth 3 to protect her and they faked her death. It was it was a really cool moment. It was this really sweet thing, like, hey, we both lost each other and we're back together and stuff, and you're not the same one, and like we still miss our Ollie and our Dinah. But we're still going to be in a relationship. And it feels it's this really sweet, mature thing.
That's what I want to do with Tasm, Andrew, and Emma. That's what I want to do.
And it's really cool. It's really sweet. Yeah. And then they have a kid, and his name's Connor. He's great. And with this, they just decided, okay, we'll make that the reason for evil Superman to surrender.
Cry.
You know, it's just like, it's so fucking weird because I don't know. Like, this feels like it's injustice specifically for people that only care about Batman, really. You know, Superman fans are going to like this. Batman fans are going to fucking have okay. Sorry, I've got too much going on in my head right now. I got thoughts on all the designs.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
This movie is ugly. The art style's fine. The art style's okay, but
it's like the Mortal Kombat art style, right? Kind of.
Yeah, it's very simple. Which those movies are really good. I actually really like those. Mm-hmm. They used the designs from the games. They should not have done that. Because those games designs are ugly in the games too. They do not look good. Nightwing specifically is really bad. Yeah. And it does not lend itself well to animation.
I think Deadwing looked kind of okay because that was like
because
a more
Deadwing
classic
is a cool design. I don't think he's red in the comic though. Let me double check.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not sure.
I remember him being blue. And I thought that was cool.
Scribe read the comics. I haven't read the comics, but Scribe doesn't read fucking comics, but he did.
In the comic, said that happens in the comic. Deadwing is blue and white in the comic.
Yeah,
which is really it's a blue suit and a white logo. I really like that. That's really cool.
But that happens in the comic.
Yeah, no, it does. It does, and they gave a little bit more stuff to that
because it's very when he went up to heaven, it was very Hindu. It was very Hindu.
I think that's a Dead Man thing.
As a Hindu myself, I was like, huh? Because I didn't understand any of this, and then Scribe was like, oh no, that's a thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I was kind of on board with it. I didn't hate it, but it was
the
just
thing that was
kind of
weird
odd.
about that is they did that really early. The Deadwing stuff doesn't happen for a while in the Justice comics
because you get 5 years. You get 5 years to explain all of this, and you don't in this.
And so I'm just thinking
weeks.
like, why do Deadwing? Why do Plastic Man? Why do these things from the comics that are so down the line when you can't even because even like trying to view this movie in a vacuum, right? Oh god, I haven't even thought about Flash. I feel bad for Flash fans.
I didn't see that coming, and I was like, that didn't get me on board. But I'm like, oh, they're doing something different. Okay,
but then
was still stupid.
But then they didn't. But then, that's the weird thing.
They didn't. Yeah.
So in the Injustice, have you read the chess scene in the comic?
Yes, I think so.
I love that scene. That's probably one of my favorite scenes in the comic. For anyone who doesn't know, and that's so in the comic, Barry does not die. Obviously, he has like a redemption arc actually in the games. It's really cool. In the comic, Superman and Barry like are having a discussion about guns, and because Superman's like, I want to get rid of guns, and they do it over a chess match, which is like a pretty standard like that's a pretty standard setup for a conversation, just a chess match, right? But they do it in a way that they're doing it at super speed. So they're doing super speed chess, and so instead of you know how like normally when people play chess in movies, it's like every time they make a point, they take something, right?
Yeah.
In the comic, because they're doing it at super speed, every time they make a point, somebody wins the game. So they play like 15 chess games in that scene. Yep. And it's this really cool thing of like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting because it's a subversion of what we're used to with like those kinds of chess
It's something added
arguments.
Upon the trope.
Yeah, and it's cool, and I like that, and it uses the characters' skills really well, and on top of it just being an interesting dialogue scene, right?
Yeah.
But with this, they replaced Barry because they killed Barry within the first 10 minutes for no fucking reason. They replaced him with Mr. Terrific. And Mr. Terrific is a great character. He's a really cool character. He's the third smartest man in the world. I really like that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have super speed. So it's just a regular fucking chess scene.
He just Beth Harmons his ass and then walks away, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. He just fucking plays chess. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you beat Superman at chess. Good job. You're the third smartest guy in the world. We knew you were gonna do that.
He came from Kansas. They didn't play chess, they played football.
We played football. Yeah, you should play football instead.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I'm just for like every time they did something from the comic, instead of being like, oh, they adapted a thing from the comic that I like, that's cool. I'm just thinking like, man, I just wish I was reading the comic right now.
Yeah.
Because the comic sets the things up so
and
much
that
better.
builds up over time.
Yeah.
That builds up the more and more they do shit like that,
Yeah.
the more, because that's what we feel with, even with something like What If, where like, instead of, just because we have such a negative experience starting it, it just keeps getting worse and worse. It's like an avalanche. The snowball just gets bigger and bigger and bigger until the fucking lowest shit happens, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
and I'm just like, oh fuck, you stole another thing that was really interesting for the characters, and you gave it to an A-lister. Yeah. That's the thing that also, okay, speaking of the designs though, Batman's design is awful. It's horrific.
The chin strap sucks. The chin strap sucks.
Horrific.
Sucks.
No, what fucked me up is the gray bat over his eyes. Did you see that?
I didn't. Does he have that?
Yeah, it looks like it's subtle, but once I noticed it, I was like, oh fuck, I can't do this.
I need to look this up.
So like they adapt scenes from the comic, and specifically like there's that scene with Selena where Bruce is like after Dick dies and he's getting very emotional. That's a really nice scene in the comic. It's a very quiet moment. Sorry, not quiet because he's screaming and shit. But there's no like dialogue over that. I think nobody's actually talking. It's just Selena sees Bruce in pain, hugs him, and Bruce like breaks down. In the movie, they gave Selena just talked over it the whole time, and it's like it lost a lot of that weight.
It felt really. Oh my god, you're right about the wings. That's so fucking weird.
All the designs are really ugly. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Why I don't get why they wouldn't just simplify them for this. It's you have to
just give them the old designs or some shit. Also, we noticed this: the knuckles on everyone's hands was just like black squares.
That's really
weird.
And
it doesn't even look like knuckles. It just looks like they're censoring something on their fists. That's what it looks like. And I don't know why that threw me off the entire fucking movie.
I will say though, I think the worst design was Nightwing for sure though, because he had these
no. I'm looking at a picture of Nightwing right now,
and it's gigantic shoulder pads.
It's
like don't fit the rest of the costume at all.
And it's like even the T is like it's just a bat symbol, but with a longer
it's really
thing.
Weird.
It doesn't even look like a Nightwing symbol.
Like I mean, that's again, it's because it was the game design, and the game designs are ugly in general. So I don't get why they would go with that. Yep. But like, and speaking of Nightwing though, I will say I think the thing that they did do better than the comic isn't Nightwing's. I got opinions on his death actually. I've got a whole thing to say about that. But I think Damian was a lot better in the movie. Damian,
I agree.
Damian had an arc.
I
Damian
agree,
redeemed himself.
100%.
It was a lot better than in the comic. And that was because like Tom had to get Damian to a certain point for the game, and they didn't need to do that for this. Same with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman in the comics is because they were like, oh, Wonder Woman has to be evil and on the side of Superman because that's what they do in the game. And Tom was like, I don't know how the fuck to do that. In this, they give Wonder Woman, she actually comes around by the end, and that's kind of nice, and we like that. Granted, they do that while killing Cyborg and Flash, Flash was the one who does that.
Do you know what's weird about that Wonder Woman stuff, though? Superman is standing there, and he's like, I don't know about this. We're going kind of far with all these things. And then Wonder Woman's like, no, you need to stick to your things.
Yeah, and it's the killing of kids that does it.
Then she's like, oh, wait, you killed some kids? And then Superman's like, yeah, of course I killed some kids. I had to kill the kids.
Yeah, you
Fuck
told
them
me
kids.
you
Michael
told
Jordan.
This, actually.
And it's like... Why?
Yeah,
why was
really
that
weird.
switch so instant? That just threw me off. Like
it's
really badly.
because this is such a long story that was rushed. It's such a weird thing. But like, so Nightwing's death though, this is like that's like the big thing in the comic that everybody hates.
Everyone's tweeting about that. That's the clip that everyone's putting on Twitter.
So in the comic, basically it is relatively similar. In the comic, Damian throws an Eskrima at Dick's head, and then Dick falls over and breaks his neck on a rock. Yep. And when that came out, people fucking hated it. People were like, "This is fucking bullshit. This is the lamest death on the planet." Yep. Here's my really hot take about the Injustice comics. I love that death. I think it's fucking perfect because. So the whole point of Injustice is Batman and Superman go to war with each other. Like it's a downfall of everybody. Actually, quick note before I forget it. One thing I actually did like about this is they didn't. Never mind. I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
It's Batman and Superman, like, that's the whole point. It's the downfall of the DC universe. Who is the one person that has ties to every part of the DC universe? Fucking Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson is involved. By involved, I mean he's had sex with people from every single side. He knows people in the magic side. He knows the Titans. He's friends with Superman. He's Batman's son. He's friends with fucking Wonder Woman's daughter. Like, he's involved.
And that's
he's
why,
the bridge
that's
that
why
connects
they even
everybody.
That's why they make an argument for him to be the next Batman, right? Because it's like, you're the guy who knows everyone and loves everyone.
He is DC defined, you know? I was going to do my DC defined video on him, and I recorded it, and I need to finish it. And so the reason and so to have him die in this, like, really unheroic, really shitty way, that's going to push a lot of people over the edge to fucking try and kill each other. You know, that's going to push Batman to be like, my son died a not heroic death because of Superman. My son died this super unremarkable, this super, like, it that leads to a lot of pain, you know? Whereas if Dick died, like, saving somebody, it would be like, oh...
Or if Robin straight up killed him, it's like, okay, that's...
it would be like, I need to avenge my son, or he would... But it's like Bruce is left with no closure about it, you know? And he gets the closure eventually with Deadwing. Yeah, and it's like, it's a lot more painful because of that, and I really like that. And the movie kind of did it. The movie sort of did it. They took out The Rock, basically. Yeah. They took out Dwayne Johnson.
Which I think it's better that they took out The Rock, because there's something... I get it's a comic, but it's a little too comical. That was my horrible pun of the day.
No, that's fair.
It's just a little weird, and I don't hate the moment completely, but it does throw you off, I think, in the midst of the comic, to be like, oh, he died? Like, okay.
Yeah, he died. He did, yeah.
And I think,
but I also really, I like The Rock for that.
With this, it happens like, in the middle of the moment, you know?
I like that it's like, it is a full-on accident thing. Yeah. You know, Damian threw that escrow at him just to hurt him, you know, didn't try to kill him. Yeah. And it was a complete accident. It's a very realistic thing of like, oh shit, somebody just fucking died. And it was Dick Grayson. You know, and that's why I like that a lot. Whereas with this, it's just like, oh, Damian was the one that killed him. Damian, like, and it's like, it loses kind of a lot of the nuance to it. It loses kind of like the weight of it. Just, and it's also a little weird that fucking all these people can fight each other like this, but then Dick gets hit in the head with an Eskrima.
Yeah, and then he does.
It's like, oh, okay, that's what kills him. I guess it's better than a rock. I don't know.
Would you have wanted him to like fall on a sword though, or is that too much? You know, it's like I guess like I don't know what works in that moment instead of that. That's not a rock, but like
I don't know. I'm cool with the Rock personally. I don't know. It's because a lot of people have a lot the Rock with his hip hop career. Because a lot of people have like a lot of differing opinions on that whole Nightwing death thing, and it's hard to like find a single thing that would save. Because some people are just mad that he died. Some people are mad that he didn't die a heroic death. Some people think that the Rock is stupid. It's hard to say the Rock now.
No, it is.
Yeah,
but like, I think with this, it's fine, and I think and that's what we get back to. There are moments in this movie that I'm like fine with. You know, I'm fine with certain aspects of where they take these characters, and originally I was like, oh my god, this is just What If again. Everything's way too fast paced. But then after a while, I was fine with it.
I would say the first half of the movie is where it's at its worst, up until the last fight. Because what was really weird is we spent a lot of time on Amazo. That was the other weird thing. You have this movie where the whole point is Superman goes evil, and you have Amazo as like the big final fight. I guess it's not the final fight, but it's very strange.
And it's weird that like Raish is because it's like, oh, Raish is the secret villain. And it's
it's a Batman villain too. That's the thing that really bugged me. Fucking, it could have why wasn't it? I think if instead of Ra's al Ghul making Amazo, if they just had Dr. Ivo still, like it is in the comic, like Dr. Ivo is a relatively niche character. He's not. I mean, he's not. He was in Arrow, so it's not like.
Would you have been okay with like Dr. Fate pulling the strings? Because I know that's a thing sometimes.
Dr. Fate is in the comics. Dr. Fate is a big character in the comics. Dr. Fate is the one who saves Black Canary. Dr. Fate does and it's weird to not have Constantine. Constantine is huge in the comic. Constantine is a massive part. I'm just as a comic fan, as a fan of that comic, I'm just like, man, they just didn't do anything. I'd say the only thing that they adapted from the comic that I was like satisfied with was Plastic Man, because that scene in the comic is really fun. It's also a one-off in the comic. It's a one-shot, so it's like disconnected from the whole story.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot easier to do. Even like the Oliver Harley stuff just didn't work for me.
It felt like too added on. It felt because he dies also so quickly, and then it's like, okay. And even, I think it just threw me off too, because Harley kills the guards too, like at the top, and I'm like,
Harley.
If their whole thing is like,
Injustice Harley's great. Injustice Harley in the comic is amazing. That's so okay. So Harley was like written a certain way for the longest time. She was written like Deadpool, and it was awful. We all hated it. Yeah. And then Injustice was actually like the best she was written for a really long time, because it was like a post Joker Harley. That was the only thing they were doing in the comics, like the only comic that was doing that. And so Injustice Harley's great. The movie just kept her as like just as like evil
normal Harley.
Yeah. She didn't really go through anything like,
she was just and I
she was sad about Oliver's death. That's kind of it. And sad about
she's
Joker's
also she's also still responsible for everything in Metropolis.
Yeah,
and they don't
really
tackle
weird.
that.
It's
you know,
really
it's like
weird.
And I think that's the thing, is I get that this movie is a little bit more lighthearted in aspects. You know, like even the thing of like, oh, we're Earth 22, cool, fun, in the midst of this crazy thing that's happening.
Yeah,
I'm like, it would work in the form of the comic, because the comic is so big and has that room.
Yeah,
but with
and
this,
Tom Taylor,
I don't know.
And Tom Taylor also knows how to break up the serious stuff with the comedic stuff. With the small character moments, like he's really good about that. That's why I love him so much.
Whereas with this, they took the comedic stuff, and then the serious stuff kind of just went by the wayside. Yeah.
Like even the like the I would say like the quiver line, the quiver scene is probably the most iconic thing in the Injustice comics, because it's like a really funny moment.
Most quotable thing.
Yeah, it's the most quotable thing. It's like it's a funny Green Arrow thing. I would say they didn't do it well in this movie.
It was just a happenstance,
and it felt like a lot of things that were just done because the comic did it. They're famous scenes from the comic, so we got to do it. Yeah. It's this middle ground of like, are you trying to adapt the comic, or are you going to do something different? Yeah. Like it felt very much like we've seen these panels online, so we got to put them in there. You know, like I don't know. I just feel like they missed the point of the original comic.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
And this. The fact, because when they announced this as an Injustice movie, I'm like, why is this a movie?
It should have been a show.
Injustice is such a huge thing that like takes up so much time.
Yeah.
And it's like this huge sprawling story. Honestly, when people think of DC, they think of the Injustice games, like people who are just gamers. Yeah. And then it's funny because then they think Superman is just evil all the time because of Injustice, you know? And it's like that's how big this story is it set up precedent for those things. Yeah. And then now it's just consolidated down to, it's not even a long movie. It's an hour and 20 minutes,
really
and that's
short
it.
Movie, yeah.
So I don't know.
It's like I feel like just adapting Year One would have been better, or adapting the first game fully and then showing flashbacks to Year One. Yeah. Show flashbacks of the important moments. Oh my god, wait. Was Alfred in this movie?
No.
That's fucked. That's the best scene. That's one of the best scenes in the comic.
What scene is that?
There's a scene in the comic where they didn't even do like the pill that makes you like super strong too. That's a huge Injustice thing. There's a scene where Alfred takes that pill and beats the shit out of Superman. And it's really fucking satisfying.
I think I remember this. Yeah.
It's a really, really satisfying moment. I'm surprised they didn't. That's another one of the big scenes. Yeah. And if it was just like, oh, we're just going to adapt these scenes to animation because the comics medium isn't a good medium to tell stories, and it has to be in a movie with sound and everything to be good.
Yeah.
Because that's what it felt like,
What they should have done is they should have ended the movie with the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, they should have ended at Year One.
You know what I don't know how you feel about this. What if they had like gone through some of the Superman is going a little bit hardcore. Yeah. They go to the Fortress of Solitude. He kills Green Arrow. Yeah. And then they lock him up. Would that have worked?
Maybe.
Do you think?
It could have. Or this could have been a trilogy. I think cut some of that, because I do. But I think as much as I like Injustice, I think it does go on a little bit too long. I think years 4 and 5 are a little much. Year 1 is probably the best year. So it's like this could have been Injustice Year 1, then Injustice Year 2, then Injustice Year 3, and then that's the whole conclusion. Yeah. Like, but it feels like they tried to set it up, do the downfall, have evil Superman, have him be a tyrant, have other Superman come in, have evil Superman get in prison, and it's a lot to do that in an hour and 20 minutes. Yep. It's so
rushing.
Strange.
You're really rushing.
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna say it. the lack of a Black Canary feels like directly insulting to me.
Yeah,
like
it was just
they had Green Arrow, and I like this voice actor for Green Arrow. He was actually pretty good.
They also kill him in like so quickly into the movie that it's like, Troy, there you go.
Really weird, the way that John Kent died, the way that Pa Kent died.
Oh
was
yeah,
really
because he's
weird.
Like, it's just like
I don't remember how he died in the comics, but I don't think it was that.
It wasn't like that.
I remember. I think I would remember if Green Arrow killed Jonathan Kent.
He doesn't die in the fortress, right? In the comics.
It's been so long since I've read it. I can't remember. Yeah. I think he might actually, and that might be the thing that pushes Superman over the edge.
Maybe.
But I don't think it's a Superman blocks the kryptonite arrow, which he shouldn't be able. They're just gonna say you shouldn't be able to do it.
He shouldn't be able to do that.
That's not how it works. He blocks, and then it bounces into. I don't know. I feel like there's the thing that's just weird to me is this movie takes a lot of things from the B-listers. And the B-lister is not an insult to the characters, because I love the B-listers in DC.
You're just ranking them in how popular they are.
Ranking them in how popular, yeah. Like Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and maybe even Flash are the A-listers, I would say. And then Green Arrow and
Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern probably. Yeah. But so they take the cool stuff from the B-listers in the comics and give them to the A-listers, like the Lois stuff and all these things. I think they should have emphasized the arcs that were in with the A-listers in the comics instead. Like, maybe cut Green Arrow from this. Maybe cut all the other characters. Maybe make this just a Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman movie. Yeah. Because there is something there. There is something with, like, part of the reason for Superman's downfall is that Batman turned his back on him. There is, if this was a Superman movie, a Superman Batman thing, that could be really interesting. But instead, they try to make it injustice. They try to make it this whole big thing. Yeah.
And that's just a disservice to both.
And I would even be fine with Jimmy Olsen being killed if it was part of the movie, if it was a part of the arc, where because Superman doesn't have Jimmy, he doesn't have Lois, he doesn't have Perry, he doesn't have any of his friends. The only person he has is Batman and Wonder Woman, and Batman has just decided to not give a shit. Batman has decided, and it's like that could be something interesting, like kind of a commentary on Batman too. But instead, Batman is an asshole. And nobody's like, nobody's ever once like, hey, Bruce, can you like be nice to your friend a little bit?
Even the thing with like, because I don't know if the Superman and Nightwing moment happens in the comic, does it? Or he like when Superman shows up in the Batcave and Nightwing like gives him a little thing and they're like, oh, is he still like this? And then they like have like a little conversation.
I don't remember that in the movie. I don't remember
in the movie, I did like there was like this quick like 2-line exchange of dialogue between Superman and Nightwing, where Superman ends up in the Batcave. And he's like, hey, Nightwing, is Batman here? And he's like, yeah, he's there. He's still mourning about shit. And he's like, oh, he is? Okay, can I go talk to him? He's like, oh, good luck, or whatever the fuck. Yeah. And it's like they still have like a relationship.
I think I
and like Nightwing being a diplomat.
Dick dies very early in the comic. Dick dies, I think, within the first few issues.
Okay, I like that moment in the movie because it was a very nice like, okay, Superman is still Superman. He's just doing a lot of bad decisions, Yeah. And I feel like we didn't have enough of that between Superman and Batman. It felt like they were just like enemies with even at the begining where Batman is really cold with him. I get that Batman is always kind of cold with him, but it's just a little too much.
In the comic, that whole Lois's pregnant scene is like Batman's being a dick about it, but he is still really proud of Superman. They are still best friends, and it is still this very sweet moment.
It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like coworkers.
This is like the way. This is what I hate Batman to be written like. Batman is written like the Arkham games, where he's cold and an asshole all the time. And if this was a story about two friends that are each going through their own loss, and so they aren't supportive of each other because of that, and that pushes them down like worse paths, I would really like that, because that is something you can only do with Batman and Superman. But instead they force in like, oh, let's take the B-listers and force in the things from the comic that are done better in the comic, and I'm just like, fuck, I just want to read the comic now. And you should just read the comic, or even fucking watch like a comic story video. Watch something. Somebody like
Troy tells you to watch a comic story video.
Oh no!
Here we go.
I couldn't think of any, but like I'm just like I'm forced to just, and I'm so worried that people are going to be like, yeah, I read the comic. Flash dies really early in it, right? Jimmy Olsen gets shot. It's like no, he doesn't. It's like because the comic is so great on like so many levels, and to I don't know, it's just like I feel like they should have lessened the scope a little bit with this, because in an hour and 20 you could tell that Batman Superman thing where Batman is an asshole, and that it's like it's a matter of like, Granted, it's still an Evil Superman thing, and it's not perfect. It's still I still am not gonna love it, but I think it would be interesting to tell a story where like
it will be a piece of media that stands on its own. Whereas now, the way that this movie has conducted itself, it can only be compared to the comics.
Yeah,
and it will always be compared
because
to the comics.
It doesn't serve as a replacement for the comics, because the comics serve as a lead into the game, and then it just doesn't lead into the game at all. No, so I don't even know who this is for. This is why it feels like it's specifically for people that only want a specific type of DC.
And that's why I'm sad about this, because I think that the name Injustice has so much power behind, like, not even just DC. When you think of the Injustice games, that not a lot of people link them to DC. It's just games that NetherRealm made for like combat. And so now they're just trying to get that audience with the movie. They're just trying to get that audience with the movie. And it's fine that they're trying to do that, but it's not to any genuine service to that side either. This is for them to just say, we have an Injustice comic, or we have an Injustice book, we have an Injustice movie, and we have an Injustice game. Yeah, and those are three Injustice things. Yeah, exactly. But and I'm very sad that that's
the movie like stands so apart from the other two. You know? And it's like the movie could have expanded on certain things, and instead, like in Ben.
What if it was a tie-in movie instead? You know, like that would have been kind of fun.
Yeah, but I don't know.
No,
I'm so like, and maybe it's because I love the comics so much, and maybe it's because I love the game so much. Like, granted, I think the story in the games doesn't always. I'm sick of Evil Superman, but like I do love the game still, because they're fucking Black Canaries in it. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
But like I just, now that I've said that, actually I'm thinking like, oh fuck, the fact that this wasn't a commentary on cold Batman, and instead, because it's weird that asshole Batman is framed as the good guy. Yeah, he's like, nobody really calls him out.
Imagine 2004 Batman doing this shit. You can't. Yeah, no. That's not like, it's always this like fucking darkest shit Batman.
And I'm just like, if instead of trying to force in things from the comic, instead of trying to force in the chess scene, instead of trying to force in the Green Arrow stuff and doing it worse than the comic, why not have a scene where Wonder Woman goes to Batman and is like, hey, you've been a piece of shit to Superman. Like, hey, Wonder
Woman and Batman don't talk ever.
No, that's really weird.
Only the Tim Universe stuff ever like does shit with that, and I feel like probably some other comics do as well. But that's like the only example I've seen where Batman and Wonder Woman actually have some form of a relationship. Yeah. Not that it has to be romantic.
I will say I do like that Superman's like turned down Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
I was like, okay, that's nice to see, because I hate that. I hate their relationship. But what was really, I don't know if you noticed this at the beginning. Do you remember when they were like calling out to the Justice League, like, a woman has been kidnapped? Her name is Lois Lane. Yeah. You mean to tell me these motherfuckers don't know Lois? You guys don't hang out and talk about your girlfriend?
No, they don't.
Like, do they not know his name is Clark Kent?
But I think a part of that is also Batman, because he doesn't show up to those meetings. But because he's like, a woman has been kidnapped. Lois Lane. Oh, we know Lois. I don't know her because I am too busy babysitting. But that's so weird,
because but at the same time they were like, oh, Lois is pregnant. You're agreeing, like, it's so strange.
I think you know what it is to me? I think Superman thinks he's friends with Batman, but he's not. Like, they're just like, oh, Batman, hey, and then Batman's like,
that's a whole level of fucked up.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
It's so like, weird.
He's like, hey, Batman, my wife and unborn child died. Oh, okay, whatever. Like, that's, and it's like,
don't you go kill don't kill my clown boyfriend, please. Like, it's so I think it's so stuck in 2010. You know, it's so stuck because the game came out in 2011, I think. It's stuck in the 2010s, where like I think we have evolved for what we want to see from a Batman-Superman relationship, and they don't do that. You know, like we want to see the Justice League be friends, and I think that's why stuff like Death of Superman worked really well. And and actually, they haven't done Justice League in these new movies yet, but like that's why I really like Death of Superman, because they are established to be friends. Like they talk to each other and they hang out. And
I'm looking forward to when they do Justice League in these new movies as well, because you've established Darren Criss as like a fun, charming Superman,
and also Green Arrow's in them. Green Arrow's gonna be in the Justice League. Fuck yeah, baby!
In his weird fucking suit, but whatever.
Actually, I like the Green Arrow design in this a lot. This was better. It's better because the game design is weird. He has like a weird.
Yeah, it's like padded. Yeah, it's like
Green Arrow in this looked really good. I won't lie.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. This movie for some people was
fucking movie. Like, just so many weird choices.
This movie it was like Batman Hush for some people. who like Batman Hush, you know, or even Batman Hush has its problems, like the comic as well. But then the movie just like does weird shit with it.
Yeah.
And I feel this is kind of the same, where Injustice, the movie does weird shit with what the comics try to do, and I feel like it's because they don't understand really what the comic was trying to do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
it's like this really feels like a movie made for somebody who doesn't want to read the comic. Yeah, because anybody who wants to read it just wants to pretend that they read the comic.
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, I remember seeing these panels on Twitter about with Oliver or with the chess game and stuff like that, and I'm and being like, oh, okay, now I've basically read the comic. When it's like you have not, because the comic is not perfect. Of course, it's not. There are some issues. It was a web comic. You know, the art's not always amazing, and like there's a lot. And Wonder Woman straight up sucks in the comics, but like there's still something really special to it. You know, whereas
because
this
it's like popular. It is popular for what it was. It became really popular.
There's a reason Tom Taylor is where he's at right now, and it is because the Injustice comics were so popular. He made a book based on a fucking fighting game, really good. How do you do that?
Yeah,
and I almost feel like I don't think they got him for this movie.
I think he was promoting it, but I don't know if
I looked at the credits. I didn't see his. I said that it just said based on the book by Tom Taylor, but that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like if Tom were to write this, he would focus on Superman and Batman because that's all you can do. You can't make this DC wide whole.
That's what the poster just has: Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. That's
all it should have been.
And
sorry. I mean, obviously, I love the fact that there are B-listers in this. Mr. Terrific is really cool. He's a really good character, but it's like they didn't really do anything interesting with him. They didn't do anything interesting with anybody.
If they were going to do a live action Injustice movies, because God forbid, they're going to fucking do that in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
But if they were to do that, they wouldn't compact it with all these other characters.
No.
Because you would just hire 3 all-star cast people to play Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, and then focus on those, and whoever you hire for like everything else is going to be like fucking, I don't know, Kumail Nanjiani, because that,
and granted,
it's like
I do still want them to do like a Zack Snyder's Injustice. I think that'd be really cool, an animated series. But it feels like now this is kind of what that is. This is Zack Snyder's Injustice.
This feels like
without Snyder's input. It's Injustice for Snyder fans without actually Snyder. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And this feels like a missed opportunity to do something with the IP. And they just rehash the same shit with a couple of like kind of heartless callbacks to the comic.
Yeah. That's a very good way to put it. And I'm just like, I just want to read the comic again. Because and now that I'm thinking about that, really, the missed opportunity, it's like, it's just so strange to me. Like, because they're in even, I mean, like, I will say again, the Dick Damian stuff was better than the comic, and that is nice. But then why have the Dead Man stuff? Why? I mean, I guess the Dead Man stuff kind of, you need that, but why have the Mr. Terrific stuff? Why have Green Arrow? Why have Harley? If you're not going to do anything interesting with them, aside from just ripping off the panels. Yeah. In a worse way. The jokes weren't as funny as they were in the comic.
No. Yeah.
And it's really strange.
And it's even the fact that it's a movie, when Superman kills all those kids in the Joker thing,
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm like, geez. And Batman's like, fuck, I need to stop him.
The funniest fucking thing is a guy in Joker makeup yelling at Superman, being like, fascist! I could not stop laughing because it was so stupid.
Why would you be that? Would you be that guy?
I would be that guy. You know I would.
Yeah. Fuck, you would be that guy.
And also, oh my god, some of the dialogue in this movie is atrocious. The one that stuck out to me the most was Superman saying, I tweeted it. What did he fucking say? Let me pull it up. He was like, I have so many of these emotions. How am I supposed to do the right thing when all I want to do is smash things?
Smash them. What are you, the fucking Hulk?
What the fuck kind of Superman line is this?
Yeah, he just felt like the Hulk, and I was like, this is too much. Please shut the fuck up and please go back to being evil. What the fuck?
All I'll say is watching Stargirl right after Injustice is the biggest whiplash in the world. Because Stargirl is good.
Yep.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah. I'll say final thoughts on this movie too. I get that they just wanted to make a fucking Injustice movie. They could have done other things than what they did.
And I don't think this is the same team as the people making the other animated things. It's clearly not. It's this Tim Sheridan. Yeah. If Tim Sheridan wrote this would be great. Yeah. Tim Sheridan's great. This feels like a Warner Brothers animation thing Because I think it's the same people that did the Mortal Kombat movies, right?
It's the same people that did Mortal Kombat movies,
So
but I still know people like those, so I don't know.
I don't know. I'm it's just to cover my bases, because you know how everybody can be. If you like this movie, there's no problem with that. Like
my friends liked it, kind of. They like, this is some people liked it better than the movie, like the game, because they were like, oh, the game is fun, but
the game is very dated and shit. Like it makes sense. I still like the game is like such an it's on its own thing that it's like the story of the first game is basically irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's such a strange choice to me to do all these things. And I'm like, as a big fan of the Injustice games and a fan of the Injustice comic, I'm just forced to be like, why?
And you know, we're a week away from fandom. They might announce an Injustice 3.
I am expecting an Injustice 3 announcement, actually.
Yeah. And that'll be interesting to see what that takes, because I don't know because the games are so less focused on story. Although Injustice 2 was story.
No, Injustice 2 is basically a movie, and it's kind of cool. Yeah. I dig that. Yeah. I just hope Injustice 3 isn't about fucking Evil Superman, or it better be the end of the Evil Superman stuff.
I think Injustice. I don't have any crazy predictions for Injustice 3, but I think it probably will have Apocalypse stuff.
I have this. Okay. I'll probably do a video on it eventually. You know how Injustice 2 ended with like two separate endings? Yeah. Where one was Superman wins, one was Batman wins? Yeah. I think it'd be really cool to bring the multiverse back and have the other timeline where Superman won, where he's Brainiac Superman, super evil. He's coming to invade the multiverse. And so they have to get the Earth 3 people back. Or sorry, the Earth 1 people back. Yeah. And it's that would be really cool to me. And then that could be that's how you finish the Evil Superman stuff. Fucking kill off the Injustice Superman, because there's no going back for him. Yeah. You know, and just have you know. I think that could be
and I feel like it's weird because Injustice 2, I mean, all the games kind of establish Superman is evil, but like that Injustice 2 very much put it in the coffin that there's no redeeming this character.
Yeah, well, Injustice 1 definitely did, because he killed the child. He killed Shazam.
That's true.
That's another weird thing. Why wasn't Shazam in this movie?
He was in the background.
He was in it for like one scene, and then he just left. He was like, "Magic people don't like this. I'm out."
Yeah, that's it.
We're just like, Shazam is
the
a
magic
big thing.
community needs to think about this or some shit. Yeah,
it's so strange to me, and I just like, again, if you like it, that's totally valid. If you like it, and you have read the comics, that's cool. I think because I've read the comics and I love the comics, that's why I just it
recontextualizes the movie for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do this with more like classic comic. Like, you think they're gonna do a deceased version of this or something like that?
I would kill for a deceased movie if Tom Taylor's still involved with it. And I actually think Deceased you could do in a movie. That first story, not any of the spin-offs or anything, but just that first one. I think you could easily do that, because like,
I think again, you know what they are going to do. They're most definitely within the next 5 years going to make a Dark Knight's Metal. Like they're probably going to do that. They're probably going to do that because they need to do the Batman who laughs in something. They're going to shoehorn him in.
No. You're so right, and I hate you.
What if that's Injustice 3? This is Dark Knight Metal.
Oh, he's got no. It's gone. Oh, you're probably no. Oh, I had a worse idea for Injustice 3.
Oh, what?
What if it's Watchmen? I would fucking be so mad if they put Rorschach in a fighting game.
Rorschach versus Dr. Manhattan.
That would be the dumbest thing on the planet, and they're gonna do it because DC loves to market Watchmen as action figures. Alan Moore would have a heart attack if they did that.
He would. He's so happy. But yeah.
But yeah. To wrap up my thoughts on Injustice, I just really disliked it. I feels like it was missing the heart of the comic, and it felt very much just like someone trying to like feed me something that they think I like, but it's like, this is not what I like. This is not what I want.
You were going on a date with Christopher Nolan and he took you to barbecue and you fucking hate barbecue.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. Or like he took me to a barbecue, but all the barbecue is like shit. It's barbecue sauce covered shit. And he's like, "Oh, it's barbecue," and I'm like, "Is it? Is it?"
Yeah.
And also just the lack of the lack of Black Canary is like not just from me being like, Black Canary.
It was you. It was for you.
You're probably right.
They saw your videos and they were like, "Who the fuck is this bitch?" We killed her in season 4 of Arrow. That's all she's important for.
Oh gosh. It's because they saw all my combos and they're like, "Oh no, she's too good. She would kill Superman instantly."
Yeah.
But then they killed Adam. Why would they just kill? I'm sorry. I'm just like so confused.
Yeah. You know, Christian was telling me that he keeps replying to your Injustice tweets saying that you're the losing character because you never specified that you're the winning character. So I think it was like versus Bane. So he was like, "Oh wow, you're really shit as Bane" or something like that.
Well, that shows he doesn't play Injustice enough because the person on the left side is always player one. So.
Oh yeah, I guess. He's a fucking Kingdom Hearts loser.
Of course.
Christian,
Sora. You like Sora and Smash
Sora's
now?
in Smash. It should have been Waluigi.
Should have been Master Chief.
Or Batman. It should have been Batman. It should have straight up been fucking
should have been
Batman.
Goku.
Yeah. But yeah, it should have been Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had for Injustice.
Yeah.
My final thoughts, I guess, real quickly. Great movie, 10 out of 10. I'm kidding. I think it's fine. I gave it a 5 or maybe even a 4. Probably more of a 5. It's literally that it was on par with What If to me. I just didn't care about so many things, and the things that I did care about just went by in a flash. Because he died.
Yeah,
you know what was funny? We didn't talk about this.
I gave it a 1. I think I would give it probably I guess 2 out of 10 and 1 out of 5 are the same thing. Because there are some things that are good, but it's just like I'm at this point where it's like, what is the point of trying to adapt a comic into animation? You know, like fucking comics. Comics are a medium. It's so fucked. Like let the comics exist and be a comic because they work as a comic clearly, and trying to force it into a single movie. And trying to force it into a single much. It's like it almost tries to devalue the medium of comics in a way. Exactly. You know, it's like with The Killing Joke. Is The Killing Joke animated movie really worth it? Of course it's fucking not, because The Killing Joke is a fantastic comic and it's written to be a comic book. Granted, Injustice is not The Killing Joke. As much as I love Tom Taylor, he's no Alan Moore, and I feel like he would agree with me on that. But like it's just so strange to me, and like you're a comics company. They're so
insistent on that.
You're a comics company, and it's like you're ashamed of being your comics.
They're ashamed of their start. They're ashamed of DC is ashamed of starting off as comics, and arguably so is Marvel.
I think any comics company is like, oh, it has to be thing. And it's more of a cultural thing. And like the comics as a medium for storytelling aren't valuable, or you know, they're worth less. And so, and granted, some of the animated movies that adapt comics do it better than the comic. I think the Red Hood one is a really good example. But then other ones like this just give the comic a bad name, you know? Yeah. And now people are going to, when they think of Injustice, they're going to associate that with this movie. And like I'm already seeing people like shit talk the Injustice comic because of this movie, and I'm like, no, the comic is still really good, you guys. Like, and obviously again there are problems with it, but it's like you're connecting things, and I don't know,
because it all merges into the same shit, and it's like it's not, it's a little different.
And it's frustrating. But anyway, read comics, everybody.
Read the comics.
But I have one question. We because I forgot we have this email open. If anybody wants to send questions through the email, be sure to email us at the email right there. Right down there. Or if patrons, I made a little Discord thing for in that, which I don't think anybody put anything in there yet. But or
just at me on Twitter on my DMs or some shit. I don't care.
Hang on, sorry. The first question is we have 2 questions on the email from Brilkson. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying this wrong, and I apologize. Oh. But should I read the whole email, or should I just read the question?
If there's other stuff in the email too, you can read it.
Said some very nice things about us. Thank you for watching the videos. And he says he likes your Batman Stories of the Fans video.
Thank you.
That's very nice of you. Thank you.
Thank Troy in that too. So.
Oh, yes, right. I forgot I was in that.
Not a lot of people watch that video, so thank you. That means a lot.
That's good. I really like that. I like that format. But so the question is, why haven't we gotten a DC game? I'm assuming like a DC that's not a Batman thing, like single DC property with publisher in tow. It's almost as if Batman is the only thing that anyone is willing to take a crack at. Say what you will about Marvel's recent cacophony of games, but at least they have the bones to collaborate and share their IPs with publishers and developers alike. I'd love to see a Devil May Cry Wonder Woman style game. a JRPG with Doom Patrol characters, that'd be cool, or a boomer shooter like Doom for Suicide Squad. So what basically the question is like, I'm going to reinterpret this question as like, what type of DC game would you like to see that it's not like, because another thing in that question is so like
talking about why we haven't yet, I think if you look at Marvel's roster, right, like the only reason we're getting Wolverine is because Spider-Man did well, and the only reason we get Spider-Man is because Spider-Man in general does well, you know, and the only reason we got Avengers is because the Avengers movies did well. And so for DC, when's the last Justice League thing we got that did well? Mainstream.
And they're not doing, because tie-in games to movies is kind of a dead property.
Exactly.
It's like, because we used to,
but it's not even tying in.
We do have a Green Lantern game. It's that it's the tie-in to the movie. And it's not, I mean, I actually haven't played it. It doesn't look good though.
No, it's old.
And like we have a couple of, obviously we've got the Suicide Squad thing coming up, which I am not that interested in. I guess the Gotham Knights thing is a Batman game.
And even the reason for the Suicide Squad game is just because the movies are notorious and
which I still hold true my theory that was supposed to be a Superman game that they've just reskinned because it's fucking Metropolis with the Brainiac villain. But like I feel like, and then we've also got weird shit like Scribblenauts. Have you played the Scribblenauts DC game?
I've seen Izar play it. I think
it's actually really fun.
Isaiah, I think.
Yeah. It's a fun one. It's a cool one.
It looks really cool.
Yeah,
there's
but no,
a lot of stuff
I
you can
do
do
agree. There's not that many. It's very strange that like aside from Injustice is really the only like DC game that's not Batman related.
Yeah,
and that's very strange. And then Fortnite. Now Fortnite, we've got all the cool guys in Fortnite.
Yep.
Another part of the question is another thing that he mentioned was that like the open world thing, like the expectation that superhero games are open world, that is kind of limiting, and I totally agree with that. I think like I kind of don't want this Wolverine game to be open world. I feel like a Last of Us type linear like single like level chapter type thing that would work better for the character.
It's supposed to be in Madripoor, I think, from what because there was like Tummel written on the walls and shit. So I think it's gonna be in like a, which is cool because I mean I don't see people who speak Tummel in fucking movies or anything, so it's kind of cool to see that representation. But even still, it's like even if it's gonna be an open world, it won't be heavily focused on like New York, you know, or some shit like that. It'll be like minimal.
The open world things with games is because like Spider-Man, everybody wants an open world Spider-Man game because they want to swing around. You know, the mobility of Spider-Man is really fun. I don't think every character lends itself to an open world, and it's kind of why like I think Avengers wasn't open world, because like I mean Iron Man maybe could work, but like an open world with Captain America, what the fuck? You're just a dude. But I think that like Spider-Man, we talked about this on the last time we talked about the Spider-Man game. The Spider-Man game is like the epitome of Ubisoft style open world, go to the towers, collect things. Like it's the definitive open world game, you know, of that type, aside from like Breath of the Wild, and like that's a whole revolution of open world. Yeah. But I think it only works for Spider-Man. I think other characters don't necessarily need that. Obviously, if we were to get a Flash game... And
it's lucky that Spider-Man is so popular to fit that.
If we were to get a Flash game, obviously, I would want that open world, you know? But just being an open world action game isn't enough anymore for me. I think if we were to get... And I'm going to do a video on this eventually. I think if we were to do a Flash game, it kind of has to be a puzzle game to a degree. Or, you know, like a Deathloop type thing. Just because it's like, superhero games should not be a genre. It should be a genre of game... Like, it should be a genre of games.
It's the Brad Bird thing.
Yeah, it should be a genre. It should be different types of genres of games.
It is a medium in which you tell certain genres through that.
Exactly.
A Flash game can be a 12 minutes Deathloop style game. And I feel like it would do really well. You just have to make sure you're harnessing the right audience. Yeah. But then the thing with superhero audiences is it's like they treat us so generically, you know, of like, oh, you just want like a fucking beat 'em up type game, and it's like, no, do something else. I feel like another example is like when I think of like DC game, I think also the Lego games, and like not that they were, it's not that they were like the pinnacle of all gaming, but like they are revolutionary, you know, like Lego Batman games were kind of revolutionary. Those Lego games were revolutionary in general. So I feel like we need another one of those. Just like here's a random DC game, It doesn't really have to do with DC, but it's just a DC game.
Yeah.
Here you go. And I feel like
it seems like they don't they don't license the characters out very much when I think they should.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's a ton of people who would kill to do a Wonder Woman game or would kill to do a Flash game.
I want a DC Justice League Dark Horror game.
Really
I feel
cool.
like that would do well.
Like a Constantine game that's like a Silent Hill type thing would be crazy.
Yeah, kind of.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Or like Alan Wake or something.
I won't play it because I am a baby bitch.
I will only play it on stream and monetize it. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And then the other question is from same person is for me they're asking I'm normally a NetherRealm Injustice type fighting game guy, but they're asking about my relationship with Marvel vs. Capcom and this kind of leads into the same thing of like a lot of superhero games are also fighting games, and like action games. I never got really into the Marvel vs. Capcom stuff.
I watched the cutscenes. They're fine.
I know some people are really into them. They're not. Just that style of fighting game isn't for me. I just never got into it. I prefer the. Is it
like the Smash style, or is it different?
No. It's just it's just a lot more fast paced and like it's a lot more technical and it's a lot flashier in a way that's just like I like NetherRealm stuff because it's a little bit slower. I can react a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's why I couldn't get into Dragon Ball FighterZ or anything.
Yeah.
But even like the Marvel vs. Capcom stuff, there are a lot of people that are huge Marvel, and so this is what's weird though with the fact that DC's only making Batman games, or games with existing properties. There are people that became Marvel fans because of Marvel vs. Capcom. I know a lot of people that like became X-Men fans because they just liked playing as Storm in MVC, and it's like. You mean to tell me, like, and I'm sure, and I mean, there are probably a lot of people that became Black Canary fans because of Injustice, or like, like it's so strange.
Games have because the interactivity of games, you can throw it to anyone, and it's like with movies, it's like, okay, you got to sit down, be quiet, and watch this thing.
Yeah,
it's a little bit harder, but with games, it is something where that's why the gaming industry is booming so well, and Twitch is a fucking the top. You saw that fucking Twitch leaks for like people's salaries that got leaked like a couple days ago. Like they make so much money off of these people just gaming, and that's it in a chair. And it's like because there's mass appeal to gaming content, and I feel like it's weird to me that like superheroes haven't fully, because superheroes are the ultimate power fantasy, that it hasn't completely taken over that yet. But it is
kind of nice that there is still like fresh IPs in the gaming industry. Obviously there's still stuff that there are times when it's like, oh fuck, it's like
does God of War count? Maybe, but like even God of War is
it's refreshing itself, so it's not gotten stale yet, but there are times when it's like, oh, it's another Assassin's Creed game, it's another they have their own like issues with IPs, but and then there's like Blair Witch games and like there are other, I don't know, the gaming landscape with like stuff like that is interesting to me.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we'll get more superhero games after.
I think so too. I think eventually. I think
there more need to do well. That's it.
Yeah.
Not a lot have been doing well. Like Avengers sucked ass. I don't know if Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be good or not. I keep forgetting that game is going to come out.
I think what really we need to stop getting superhero games that are like the money maker games, the cash grab ones. Yeah. But that's the thing, is that superheroes are a very profitable industry.
So you give them to those.
So you give them to the mobile games and the gacha games and the live services and shit to get that,
like Midnight Suns or whatever the fuck's coming out. I don't. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's kind of frustrating. And I think the success of Spider-Man is showing companies that like, oh wait, we actually can do this. But the thing is, games take a long fucking time to make. Yep. So Spider-Man came out in 2018. I mean,
you're only going to see the ramifications of that in the next like 5 to 10
I think
years.
We're not going to see and we'll see how the Suicide Squad game works. I have a feeling it's going to be a live service. I've got a very bad feeling about it.
Yeah.
And we'll see how this Gotham Knights thing feels. I'm assuming
it might work like Guardians of the Galaxy. That was my other theory for the Suicide Squad, of like you're all still the group, but it doesn't make sense. You're 4 players.
I would hope it's not like that, because I don't know. The Guardians game isn't really doing it for me. It seems just very. I don't know. The Wolverine game is the thing is like they need to give these games to like really solid developers. I want a Naughty Dog superhero game. I want there's another developer I can only think of fucking I want Soccer Punch.
You want another?
Which I guess because there's also a ton of superhero games in the landscape anyway. There's fucking Infamous and Prototype.
I forgot.
Infamous is great. I like Infamous needs to be more popular. I don't know.
I just forgot that the Arkham
weird.
games existed too.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Well,
Sorry, we were talking
but...
about like not Batman stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, but
it's weird. You would have expected DC to be like, oh, these Batman games sold really well. Let's make a fucking Superman one. Let's make a Nightwing one.
I would have thought they would have. I thought they would have made a Nightwing game.
I would have thought they made a Green. I'm surprised they haven't made a Green Arrow game either.
Yeah.
Like archery in games always feels really good.
Also, a Batman Beyond game would do fucking phenomenal.
It really would.
Then they haven't made one, and they need to bring back Batman Beyond mainstream. And I don't know why they haven't yet, but they need to.
It's weird.
Yep. Yeah. I need what's his name? Michael Keaton and some other Michael Keaton and Ryan. Who's the guy who plays
Ryan Potter?
He's not. Is he in the poster?
He's not on the poster. That's sad.
He's not.
He's right below. There's his green hair.
I want this kid, Ryan Potter. Yeah,
Ryan Potter. Yeah, he's cool.
As a Tyranus.
He's I want him for Tim Drake, but yeah, he'd be really good.
Yep.
But we didn't talk about the Ismahawk stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They announced that. That's gonna be better than really this shit.
It's gonna be much better than this shit. I need to read that comic still. I need to read it.
Yeah. I read the first like 3 issues or 4 issues, whatever was free. That's it. Yeah. I haven't read the rest.
I need to read it. I've heard good things.
But
I think that was a pretty meaty question, so I think we could call it here.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything else that was going on. But yeah, I think we have been watching Titans. Once Titans ends, we will probably talk about Titans.
You can talk about Titans. I'm not going to talk about Titans.
Yeah, I'll talk about Titans. I'll talk about Titans.
I'll talk about Stargirl. Stargirl is the Titans that we need.
Yeah, that we desire. That Stargirl is a good Titans show. Is what it is. It's a bad show.
Yeah.
But yeah. I didn't have anything else. Stream Coda.
Stream Coda.
Oh yeah. I think I announced already, but it hit 1K, so thank you.
Yeah, good job. I'm very proud of you. Yep. And stream the Batman v Dracula video because it's not doing very well.
Yes, so, yeah. Watch that, please do.
But
I had fun with that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. This has been Troyboy17. I'm joined by Mithi of Film Caffeine. Oh, that rhymed. Oh, we do a little limerick.
We did. Yeah. What are we, Shakespeare?
What are we, Dr. Seuss?
Shakespeare in the park. Doth mother know you weareth her drapes? I'm a billionaire.
Oh God. But yeah, this has been fun. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions you want us to talk about on the next episode, feel free to send us an email at fanboytalk@gmail.com, or if you're a patron, there's a patron section on the Discord, and we will prioritize those in the future. I don't know how to end this.
Stream Ted Lasso.
Injustice movie bad, in my opinion. Batman. Spider-Man. Oh, we didn't talk about Spider-Man. We didn't talk about Spider-Man at all.
We didn't talk about Spider-Man at all.
How are we going to put it in the thumbnail?
No! Fuck, Spider-Man. There we go.
Fuck, there we go. But all right. Thank you, everybody. See you around.
Bye-bye.
Bye.